Chapter 49:17. I am little fairy Jiu Yunchujo looked at Yuan Ji, who was smiling coldly, and her smile became even more brilliant. Yuan Ji, I'm afraid this matter is out of your hands. Look, the people from the Divine Devil Hall have come looking for you. Yunchujo pointed to the distance with her finger. Yuan Ji's expression changed. He looked up and saw dozens of people rushing over from afar. The masks on their faces were very familiar. They were all from the Divine Devil Hall. Yuan Ji's heart sank. The people of the Divine Devil Hall should have surrounded Di Biming and the others in the depths of the wilderness. Why did they suddenly come here? Could it be that they had spies nearby? That was not right. He had sent people to investigate. There were no spies from the Divine Devil Hall nearby. What the hell? He glanced at Yunchujo and said in a low voice, I'm warning you. Don't talk nonsense. Otherwise, I won't be able to save your life. Yunchujo nodded obediently. Don't worry. I cherish my life very much. I won't talk nonsense. Yuan Ji looked at her suspiciously. He was skeptical, but when he thought about how she had changed her appearance now, the people from the Divine Devil Hall might not be able to recognize her. He might be able to fool them if he tried again. At this time, the dozens of people from the Divine Devil Hall had already arrived in front of them. The leader of the golden masked men sized up the crowd, and finally, his gaze fell on Yunchujo. Sir, we are from the Lan family. Our young miss happened to pass by this place when she came out for training. Since your sect has something to deal with here, we won't disturb you, Yuan Ji said politely. The golden masked man frowned. The Lan family? The purple masked man who was in charge of them had mentioned that the Lan family was still useful to them. He told them not to get into conflict with the Lan family. However, the news he received earlier. He sized up Yunchujo again. I wonder, which young miss of the Lan family is this? Just as Yuan Ji was about to casually mention a name, he heard Yunchujo say with a smile, I am the young miss of the Lan family. I am the fairy of your Divine Devil Hall. Yuan Ji, good, very good. This was what she said about not talking nonsense. At this moment, Yunchujo took out a bunch of talismans and 2 big sacks of chili and threw them at the people from the Divine Devil Hall. As she threw them, she said, Idiot. This is our Lan family's greeting gift to you. Although Hei Xinjia's talismans were of average quality, there were many of them. No one could withstand so many talismans. Yunchujo shouted at Yuan Ji, what are you waiting for? Go. If they send a message to their accomplices, we will all die. Yuan Ji was furious. However, he did not have the time to argue with Yunchujo now. What she said made sense. If they did not kill the dozens of people, they would not be able to escape once reinforcements arrived. It was not that he did not want to explain to these people, but since the troublemaker had done so much, it was useless to explain. Therefore, he gritted his teeth and said to his subordinates, Go. Leave no one alive. Therefore, the 2 sides engaged in a battle. Hei Xinjiu had calculated the direction of the wind when she threw the chili. The wind was directed at the people of the Divine Devil Hall, so Yuan Ji's subordinates were not affected at all. In addition, the people of the Divine Devil Hall had been tortured by Yunchujo's talismans, so Yuan Ji's people quickly gained the upper hand. Chapter 49:18. The 10,000-year-old pit. The golden masked man roared in exasperation. Is the Lan family trying to rebel? Stop it, Hei Xinjiu hid at the back and shouted with her hands on her hips, dream on. How can the Lan family be on the same side as the Divine Devil Hall? I was just playing with you. You should know that I have the blood of the Lan family flowing in my veins. The Lan family will naturally stand on my side. Let me tell you the truth. The Lan family and Di Biming have the intention of working together from the inside out. Not only will you all die, the rest of you will also die. A bunch of idiots. The golden masked man was both angry and anxious. The Lan family was actually on the same side as Di Biming? No wonder the Lan family had not handed over Yunchujo after so long. How hateful. The golden-masked man did not care much and immediately passed the news to his companions. On one hand, he wanted them to come and rescue him. On the other hand, he wanted them to be on guard against the Lan family and have the opportunity to settle the score with the Lan family. Yuan Ji was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He wanted to explain, but he did not know where to begin. Was it that Yunchujo did not have the blood of the Lan family? Or was it that he and Yunchujo were not in cahoots? But how to explain the current situation? For some reason, Yuan Ji had an ominous feeling that he had fallen into a bottomless pit. Could it be that all of this was planned by this troublemaker? At this moment, Yunchujo shouted, "Little ones, put in more effort. Otherwise, when their reinforcements arrive, our lives will be over." Yuan Ji could strangle her to death with hatred. However, he could not deny that she was right. They had to finish the battle as soon as possible. Otherwise, the longer they waited, the more dangerous it would be. Therefore, he and his subordinates stepped up their attacks. Hei Shinjo did not stay idle either. She secretly launched a sneak attack with the purple needles and specifically aimed at the eyes of the people from the Divine Devil Hall. After about an hour, the battle finally ended. Yuan Ji panted and said, "Yunchujo, follow me and leave this place immediately. Otherwise, I will have to take you away by force." Yunchujo curled her lips. The man with the Jin Mian must have informed the other people from the Divine Devil Hall. If we return to the Lan family now, we will be blocked on the way. It will be a disaster. Give up on that idea. I naturally have a way to avoid the Lan family's block. You leave with me immediately. Yuan Ji shouted sternly, and he planned to make a move and forcefully take Yunchujo away. The smile on Yunchujo's face became even more brilliant. "Yuan Ji, since you're already involved in this mess, it's not like you can leave just because you want to. To tell you the truth, I've mixed poison into the chili. The poison that only I can cure is already highly toxic to all of you. If you don't want to die, then listen to me. Are you trying to control me and force me to get the antidote? Unfortunately, I'm not afraid of torture. Moreover, are you confident that you can really catch me?" Yuan Ji felt his head buzzing. He said angrily, "Yunchujo, you're lying. We're not poisoned." Yunchujo shrugged her shoulders. "If you don't believe me, you can shout a few times and see if you feel dizzy." One of Yuan Ji's men immediately shouted a few times and then said in horror, "Sir, I really feel dizzy. I'm really poisoned." When the others heard this, a few of them pulled their necks and shouted a few times. Then, they also said in horror, "I'm really dizzy. We're really poisoned." Chapter 49:19 was all part of her plan. "Yunchujo, I advise you to hand over the antidote. Otherwise, don't blame me for being merciless." Although Yuan Ji still had some doubts in his heart, he still believed Yunchujo when he thought of her evil schemes. "Yuan Ji, do you think that threats are useful to me? You only have one choice now, and that is to listen to me. I promise that as long as I save the gigolo, I will immediately follow you back to the Lan family." Yunchujo said with a smile. The reason why she dared to lie to them openly was because she was certain that Yuan Ji and the others did not know that shouting for a long time would cause them to be short of oxygen. Moreover, they had fought with the people from the Divine Devil Hall for a long time and had already used up a lot of energy. It would be strange if they did not faint after shouting. Moreover, even if they did not fall for it, she had other ways to make them fall for it. To her, it was a pleasant surprise that Yuan Ji was able to bring his men to catch up to her. Initially, she had wanted to fight alone, but now that she had these helpers, she naturally didn't want to waste them. If Yuan Ji didn't understand Yunchujo, he might really use force. However, he had interacted with Yunchujo several times and knew that this fellow was full of bad intentions. If he used force, he was afraid that it would be useless. Yuan Ji was so regretful that his intestines turned green. If he had known earlier, after the Lan family competition ended, he would have watched this troublemaker and not allowed her to leave the city. His expression changed a few times before he gritted his teeth and said, "According to the information I know, there are thousands of people from the Divine Devil Hall gathered in the wilderness. Even if we are willing to help you, we will not be able to save Debaiming. Instead, we will be risking our lives." Yun Chuzhou narrowed her eyes. "So what if there are thousands of people? As long as you listen to me, you will definitely be able to achieve our goal. Also, Yuan Ji, do you think that the Lan family and the Divine Devil Temple will be able to maintain their relationship after this incident? According to the Divine Devil Temple's character, they will definitely take revenge on the Lan family. So, you are not helping me, but you are helping yourselves. Because if you kill one more person from the Divine Devil Temple, you will have one less enemy." Yuan Ji was so angry that he was speechless. He felt that he was not a stupid person, but why was he being held back by this darn girl? As if everything was within her calculations? "Yuan Ji, don't worry. I value my life the most, so I won't do stupid things that I'm not sure of. You just need to listen to my commands." Yuan Ji thought about it and agreed. This troublemaker valued her life the most, and she had a belly full of bad water, so she should not act rashly. Moreover, if he could contact the Pavilion Master now, according to the Pavilion Master's personality, she would probably be persuaded by this troublemaker. Therefore, he could only grit his teeth and listen to her. Moreover, he could completely listen to her on the surface. When the time came, he might find an opportunity to kill Debaiming. Thinking of this, he said, "Okay, I'll listen to you. But if you save Debaiming, you must come back to the Lan family with me." Yuan Ji curled his lips. Surprised? This was obviously a shock. He Xinjiu took out the voice transmission talisman of the Lan family's ancestor and said slyly, "Ancestor, long time no see. How is your elder? I'm playing in the wilderness. By the way, Yuan Ji helped me kill dozens of people from the Divine Devil Hall. And I've told the people from the Divine Devil Hall that the Lan family and my fiancé are playing a trick of cooperating with each other. They are so angry that they are jumping up and down. It's very interesting." Chapter 49-20. The old ancestor who was about to go mad from anger at the same time. A loud bang came from the study room of the old ancestor of the Lan family. The old ancestor smashed the table into pieces with a palm and almost fainted from anger. He also sent people to look for Yun Chuzhou, but when he found out later that Yuan Ji had brought people to look for Yun Chuzhou, he did not take it to heart. He thought that Yuan Ji would definitely capture Yun Chuzhou, but who would have thought that not only did he fail to capture her, he even helped her kill dozens of people from the Divine Devil Hall? Was he a pig's brain? In this way, the peace on the surface could not be maintained, let alone the future deals. He immediately took out his voice transmission talisman and shouted sternly, "Yun Chuzhou, get your ass back here right now." A moment later, He Xinjia's giggling voice came from the voice transmission talisman, "Old ancestor, I will get my ass back, but I have to kill the rest of the people from the Divine Devil Temple before I go back. I will kill them all. The Divine Devil Temple is in a mess, so they don't have time to find trouble with the Lan family for the time being. Ancestor, I am a member of the Lan family. This is what I should do. You don't have to praise me too much. I will be embarrassed." The ancestor of the Lan family was so angry that he almost vomited blood. Kill the rest of the people from the Divine Devil Temple? As far as he knew, the Divine Devil Temple had sent many people into the Wild Hope Wilderness in recent days. There were at least 3,000 to 4,000 people. Most importantly, these people were elites. She could kill all of them with just the dozens of people that Yuan Ji had brought? Was she dreaming? The old man wearing a mask appeared silently in the study room. "Master, what happened?" The Lan family's old ancestor gritted his teeth and told her everything, then said, "I thought that Yuan Ji was smart, but in the end, he was tricked by that troublemaker. I'm so angry." The old man was obviously shocked. After a long while, he said, "Master, what should we do now?" Yun Chuzhou and Yuan Ji are not even enough to fill the gaps between the teeth of the divine devil hall. Isn't she courting death? The old ancestor of the Lan family said angrily, since she is courting death, then let her go. Anyway, the divine devil hall killed her. I will deal with her and won't find trouble with the Lan family. The old man nodded and then said with some hesitation, Master, what if Yun Chuzhou really killed those people from the divine devil hall? What should we do next? The old ancestor sneered, unless there is a red rain in the sky. She can do it. However, the old ancestor thought of the things that happened in the Zen sect. That troublemaker could even trick the Buddha's candle. Perhaps she could really do it? Thinking of this, he added, if she can do it, it's not a bad thing. The elites of the Divine Devil Temple are all in the wilderness. If they are all killed by her, the Divine Devil Temple will more or less be in turmoil. They won't have the energy to find trouble with us for a while. He wanted to use her. Then she would give him a taste of his own medicine. After this incident, even if that old fox wanted to send her to the Divine Devil Hall, the Divine Devil Hall would not believe it. Yuan Ji saw the sinister smile on Yun Chuzhou's face and touched his hair that was only an inch long. He felt that these days were like a joke. At this moment, Yun Chuzhou said, half of you, switch your clothes with the corpse. Hurry up. Chapter 49-21. The number one female sword immortal in the world. Yuan Ji and the others had already boarded the pirate ship, so they naturally had to listen to He Xinzhou. Thus, half of them changed into the clothes and masks of the Divine Devil Hall. Everyone had specially marked the masks, so that they would not be accidentally injured by their own people in a chaotic battle. Yun Chuzhou, what are you trying to do? Yuan Ji asked, confused. The truth is false, and the truth is the truth. In 15 minutes, reinforcements from the Divine Devil Hall will come. Let's give them a good fight, Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Yuan Ji looked at her with a dumbfounded look. How did you know that someone from the Divine Devil Hall would come in 15 minutes? I know how to predict. This small matter is not difficult for me. Don't talk nonsense. Let's do it like this later. Do you hear me? Yuan Ji looked at the sinister smile on Yun Chuzhou's face and thought to himself, this troublemaker is really despicable. When the reinforcements from the Divine Devil Hall arrived, they saw that both sides had casualties and were engaged in a chaotic battle. The leader of the golden-masked men shouted at Yun Chuzhou, you are courting death. Although Yun Chuzhou had disguised herself, there was only one woman present. That person naturally recognized He Xinzhou. Yun Chuzhou waved her hand. Immediately, the people of the Lan family jumped to the side and stood behind her. The people of the Temple of Gods and Demons, on the other hand, stood behind the people of the Temple of Gods and Demons on their own accord. The golden-masked man had never dreamed that those people were the people of the Lan family in disguise. Therefore, he only glanced at them briefly and did not take them to heart. He glared at Yun Chuzhou viciously. Yun Chuzhou, how dare you? You actually dare to come here and behave atrociously. But this is also good, so that we don't have to go through so much trouble to find you. Do you want to surrender, or do you want to do it the hard way? Yun Chuzhou sighed. It seems that I have thought too simply. I did not expect that your Divine Devil Hall has so many people here. However, it is also impossible to make me surrender, unless you can defeat me. The golden-masked man laughed out loud. Yun Chuzhou, aren't you afraid that the wind will blow your tongue? You're only at the 3rd level of the extreme spirit realm, but I'm at the 9th level of the extreme spirit realm. Are you sure you want to fight me? Of course I'm sure, unless you're a coward and don't dare to fight me one-on-one. Yun Chuzhou said provocatively. The golden-masked man was instantly angered from embarrassment. If it wasn't for the higher-ups wanting to capture him alive to threaten de-biming, he wouldn't have bothered to waste his breath on her. Since she wanted to die, then he would grant her wish. If he could control this bitch, then the others wouldn't have anything to fear. Thinking of this, the golden-masked man sneered, all right, then let's fight one-on-one. Let's do it. Hearing this, Yun Shujo summoned little bitch number 1 and stabbed at the golden-masked man's heart. The golden-masked man pursed his lips. This Yun Shujo actually used a sword instead of a spiritual beast? Is she crazy? The golden-masked man did not dodge but released his spiritual beast. A huge spiritual wolf pounced at Yun Shujo with bared fangs and brandished claws. Yun Shujo hurriedly withdrew her sword to dodge and shouted, "Io, you're really powerful. You actually released a spiritual dog." The golden-masked man, are you fucking blind? Is that a dog? It's a wolf, okay? Jin Mian kept increasing his attacks and forced Hei Shinjo to retreat. Hei Shinjo said arrogantly, "Do you think I'm afraid of you just because of that? I'll show you what the number 1 female sword immortal in the world is." Although Yuan Ji was very nervous, his mouth twitched when he heard the shameless words of this guy. This troublemaker was really thick-skinned. Chapter 49-22, Kill the Golden-Masked Man and the people from the Divine Devil Hall were also stunned when they heard Yun Shuji's shameless words. The number 1 female sword immortal in the world? Was she still shameless? At this moment, Yun Shujo summoned little slut number 2 to number 9. 8 flying swords suddenly stabbed at the golden-masked man's vital points. The people from the Divine Devil Hall cried out in surprise. This Yun Shujo could actually control 8 flying swords at the same time? This spiritual sense was really powerful. Although the golden-masked man was also a little surprised, he did not take it too seriously. Although this flying sword was rare, it was definitely not as powerful as a spiritual beast. The two sides once again engaged in a fight. The people of the Divine Devil Hall were all attracted by the fight between Yun Shujo and the golden-masked man. The people who blended into the Divine Devil Hall saw Yuan Ji's hand gesture and immediately raised their spiritual shields. Then, they threw all the chili noodles at the people of the Divine Devil Hall. At the same time, they attacked the people of the Divine Devil Temple nearby. The people of the Divine Devil Temple did not expect the backyard to be on fire. Their attention was all on Yun Shujo and the golden-masked man. They were almost defenseless. Therefore, in just a short moment, the Lan family had killed dozens of people. It was as easy as chopping vegetables. In addition, their costumes were exactly the same as the people of the Divine Devil Temple. For a time, the people of the Divine Devil Temple could not tell who was the enemy and who was the comrade. Many of them were accidentally injured by their own people. Yuan Ji had his subordinates join in the battle as well. He came over to help Yun Shujo. At this moment, Yun Shujo took advantage of the golden-masked man's distraction to sneak attack him with a small flame. The golden-masked man's right arm was burned into charcoal by the small flame. Before he could say anything, Yuan Ji, who was behind him, killed him with a palm strike. Yun Shujo and Yuan Ji looked at each other. In this battle, it was either one of them or the other. Although they had their own plans, they were the most reliable comrades at this moment. As the golden-masked man was killed and they were caught off guard, more than 100 people from the Divine Devil Hall were killed by Yun Shujo and the others. Yuan Ji looked at the dead bodies on the ground and felt a little complicated. Did they really win with fewer people and kill all these people? Moreover, not a single person on his side died. His subordinates looked at each other. This battle was the easiest one for them, right? Especially at the beginning, those people from the Divine Devil Hall were like fools, allowing them to plot against them. It was so cool. Yuan Ji, you guys change into the clothes of the Divine Devil Hall too, so that it won't be too eye-catching. As Yun Shujo said that, she put on a set of clothes from the Divine Devil Hall and put on a mask. Yuan Ji asked in confusion, what use can these corpses be? Why not destroy them? Yun Shujo glanced at him and said, do you have the final say or do I have the final say? If you continue to dawdle, I will make you bald forever. Yun Shujo said coldly. Yuan Ji, you are ruthless. Yuan Ji reluctantly put the corpses into his storage ring and asked, where are we going next? Well, find a safe place to rest first, then, well, go and kill people. Yun Shujo said coldly. Yuan Ji cursed in his heart. Are you sure you're going to kill people? And not be killed by others? However, he didn't dare to say it out loud. He followed Yun Shujo with a cold face. Finally, they found a place with low shrubs. Yun Shujo motioned for everyone to sit down and rest. However, a moment later, she said, "It's not safe here. Let's go somewhere else." Everyone had no choice but to follow her to another place. However, not long after, they were asked to follow her to another place. Chapter 49:23 Used me as bait. Yuan Ji couldn't take it anymore. What on earth are you trying to do? Why are you constantly changing locations? Yun Shujo looked at him as if she was looking at an idiot. Of course I'm avoiding the pursuers. Otherwise, do you think I have nothing better to do? Avoiding the pursuers? Why don't I see any pursuers? Wait until you see them. The daylily will be gone. If you don't believe me, you can go to the place where we stayed and take a look secretly. Yun Shujo said with a pout. Yuan Ji was also infuriated by Hei Shinjo. He immediately sneaked back and saw a group of people from the Divine Devil Hall from a distance. He was so scared that he hurriedly ran back and looked at Yun Shujo in disbelief. How? How did you figure it out in advance? Yun Shujo looked like a fraud and said, "The secrets of heaven cannot be revealed. A mortal like you should not ask." Yuan Ji, following that, everyone followed Yun Shujo and kept changing locations, but they were never found by the people of the Divine Devil Hall. Whether it was Yuan Ji or his subordinates, they were completely impressed by Yun Shuji's ability. How on earth did she do it? She was too powerful. Yun Shujo looked at their eyes and was secretly happy. These stupid fools. She was relying on the flower-belly poison-tail spiritual bees. The reason why she arrived 2 days later than Yuan Ji was to catch these little things in the nearby mountains. With the help of these little things, she knew the whereabouts of the people from the Divine Devil Hall like the back of her hand. As for why those people at the beginning suddenly ran to the outer area, it was also because she had written many notes to have the flower-bellied poison-tail spirit bees thrown into the range of activities of those people from the Divine Devil Temple. According to the degree of hatred that those people from the Divine Devil Temple had for her, even if they would doubt the reliability of the information, they would still come out with the intention of killing 1,000 people by mistake rather than letting one go. That was why Yuan Ji had no choice but to cooperate with her. However, these flower-bellied poison-tail spirit bees could only move around in the outer area of the wilderness. There was no way for them to go in. When the time came, she would have to think of other ways. Thinking of the records she had seen in the wilderness, she could not help but smile. While Yun Shujo was thinking, Yuan Ji said, "This is only the outer area, so the Divine Devil Hall only sent a few hundred people to be on guard. Even so, we are not their match, not to mention that there are thousands of people inside. I advise you to follow me back to the Lan family." Yuan Ji, there is no turning back, so don't say anything that will hurt the morale. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Yun Shujo stared at Yuan Ji and said with a stern voice. Yuan Ji was shocked by the murderous aura on Yun Shujo. He wanted to say something, but he swallowed it. Yun Shujo slowly said, "Use bait to set up an ambush." Use bait to set up an ambush? Then who should be the bait? Yuan Ji asked. Who else? Yun Shujo pointed at her nose. Yuan Ji was stunned and blurted out, "Aren't you the one who cherishes your life the most? Why did you take the risk to be the bait?" Yun Shujo laughed lightly, "Because I'm the most suitable to be the bait, and it's the only way to minimize the casualties. Although we weren't happy in the past, from the moment we worked together, we were comrades. Although I, Yun Shujo, am not talented, I still have the courage and responsibility." Chapter 49:24, Leading the charge. Yuan Ji did not expect Yun Shujo to say such a thing. How could this troublemaker be so responsible? Yuanji's subordinates were also stunned. They naturally held a grudge against Yun Chujiu. After all, He Xinjiu had poisoned them. It would be a miracle if they did not hate her. However, after hearing what He Xinjiu had said just now, they more or less looked at her in a different light. They were all bloodthirsty people who valued loyalty the most. Therefore, they felt that Yun Chujiu's ability to use her body as bait had some merits. Yuan Ji looked at Yun Chujiu suspiciously. Seeing that she did not seem to be in a bad mood, he said, "Then tell us what we should do in detail." Yun Chujiu immediately told him her plan. Then, she curled her lips. "There are about 100 people in the nearest place. Our plan is enough to kill them all. However, we have to finish the battle as soon as possible to prevent the other people from the Divine Devil Hall from coming to support us. Do you understand?" Yuan Ji could not be bothered to ask how Yun Chujiu knew about the situation. He nodded. "Since you are the bait, we will not be vague." Yun Chujiu nodded. She was afraid of death, but it did not mean that she did not have the courage and responsibility. Moreover, the best way to boost the morale was to lead the troops. As night fell, Yuan Ji's heart was also worried. He did not know if the plan to stir up trouble would work, so he was not sure. Yun Chujiu looked at the time and then waved her hand. Everyone followed her to the temporary base of the Divine Devil Hall. When they were about 10 miles away from the temporary base of the Divine Devil Hall, Yun Chujiu said to Yuan Ji, "There are a little more shrubs here. It's suitable for hiding. You guys can ambush them here. I'll go and lure them over." Yuan Ji nodded and hesitated for a moment. In the end, he said, "Be careful." Yun Chujiu smiled brightly. "Don't worry. I don't have any other abilities. It's a piece of cake to anger them. See you later." Yuan Ji looked at Yun Chujiu's departing figure and shook his head. Then, he arranged for the others to set up an ambush. When Yun Chujiu walked about 5 miles, she was discovered by the people in charge of guarding the Divine Devil Hall. Those people were stunned when they saw Yun Chujiu. Yun Chujiu wore a mask on her face and the clothes of the Divine Devil Hall. Although women were rare among the people of the Divine Devil Hall, it was not unheard of. Therefore, they did not attack immediately. Instead, they shouted, "Which lord are you under? Why are you here in the middle of the night?" Yun Chujiu snorted coldly and gave off a murderous aura. "Who am I? Do you think you can ask me? Call your leader here. Otherwise, if you delay this important matter, I will take your dog lives." The few people were immediately intimidated by He Xinjiu's aura. Their hearts were beating fast, but they did not dare to say anything. They immediately sent someone to deliver a letter to their leader. When the golden-masked man saw Yun Chujiu, he sized her up suspiciously. "Which hall are you from? Why are you here so late at night?" The reason why the golden-masked man did not suspect that the person in front of him was Yun Chujiu was mainly because he did not expect Yun Chujiu to put herself in danger in the middle of the night. Yun Chujiu did not know the bullshit entrance of the Divine Devil Hall. She had an idea and took out an identity jade token that she had seized and threw it to the golden-masked man. Then she said, "We found Yun Chujiu's hiding place and wanted to send you a message, but we were afraid that you would not be able to find the specific location. So our Lord sent me to lead the way for you." Chapter 49:25 was too satisfying. The golden-masked man took the jade token from Yun Chujiu's hand and looked at it. He still had some doubts, but on second thought, the Lan family only had a few dozen people. Even if there was a conspiracy, they were not afraid. If they could capture Yun Chujiu alive, it would be a great merit. Thinking of this, he said, "Okay, then lead the way. If you dare to play any tricks, HMPH." Yun Chujiu said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner, "Please return my lord's jade token to me first." The golden-masked man threw the jade token in his hand to Yun Chujiu. His suspicion towards Yun Chujiu was somewhat dispelled. After all, if there was anything wrong with her identity, she would not still think about returning the jade token. Even so, the golden-masked man still gave his subordinates a look. Immediately, 7 or 8 people surrounded Yun Chujo in the middle, in case she ran away. Yun Chujo did not show any signs of panic. She was secretly happy in her heart. Initially, she thought that it would take some effort, but she did not expect these idiots to be so gullible. This time, it was much simpler. When they were about to reach the ambush circle, in order to prevent the people from the Divine Devil Hall from noticing the ambush ahead, Yun Chujo began to divert their attention and said, "What do you guys think of that, Yun Chujo?" The people who were watching her could not help but show contempt in their eyes. They said one after another, "What's so great about that smelly girl? She's just a rumor. We will capture her alive in a while." That's right. We are not like those idiots from the other continents. It's a simple matter to deal with her. As long as we capture her, we can use her to blackmail D. Biming. Speaking of D. Biming, he is really something. We have sent 3,000 to 4,000 people this time, and we have been besieging the wilderness for more than a month, but we still haven't caught him. Yun Chujo was proud in her heart. That was her gigolo, wanting to catch him? Dream on. Yuan Ji heard the laughter coming from afar, and then he saw He Shinjo talking and laughing with those people. He was completely dumbfounded. What was going on? Were those people from the Divine Devil Hall blind? Could it be that they didn't recognize the troublemaker as Yun Chujo? Seeing that they were about to enter the ambush, Yun Chujo pointed to the sky and exclaimed, "Oh my God, look, what is that?" Everyone subconsciously looked up. Yun Chujo took the opportunity to leap forward and threw 2 big sacks of chili noodles to them. The people from the Divine Devil Hall were caught off guard. Some of them were choking and crying. The golden-masked man finally realized what was going on and shouted, "She is Yun Chujo. She is that bitch Yun Chujo. Chase after her." The reason why he was so sure was naturally because of the chili noodles. They did not go far before a lot of rapeseed oil was thrown at them from the surrounding bushes. Following that, flames soared into the sky and countless chili peppers were thrown. The people of the Divine Devil Hall were in a panic. In addition to the fact that the ground was very slippery after being splashed with rapeseed oil, many of them were tripped by their companions and fell to the ground. What made things worse was that countless talismans were thrown at them. For a moment, the screams of the people of the Divine Devil Temple could be heard. In less than an hour, all the people of the Divine Devil Temple were killed. Yuan Ji's side did not even have a scratch, let alone a dead person. Everyone looked at each other. How could war be played like this? It was too fucking satisfying. Chapter 49-26. Miserable but face Yuan Ji's mood was a little complicated. The biggest contributor to this victory was naturally that troublemaker. She was the one who came up with the scheme and used herself as bait. She was the one who provided the chili noodles, she was the one who provided the rapeseed oil, and she was also the one who provided the talisman seal. They had only put in a little effort. Just as he was about to say something, Yun Chujo shouted sternly, "Retreat! Quickly retreat! The flames here will soon attract people over. We must evacuate as soon as possible." Yuan Ji and the others did not dare to be negligent. They immediately followed Yun Chujo and quickly retreated. A moment later, a team from the Divine Devil Hall rushed to the scene. There were 300 to 400 people in this team. The leader of the team, Jin Mian, stared at the dead bodies on the ground with a gloomy gaze. Then, he released a spirit beast that looked like a dog. The spirit beast sniffed around and then chased in a direction that was the direction where Yun Chujo and the others had previously left. The golden-masked man revealed a cold smile. A mere Yun Chujo actually wanted to stir up trouble? She really overestimated herself. Yun Chujo, who was leading the group to retreat, could not help but feel her heart sink when she received the report from a few flower-belly poison-tail spiritual bees. With that spiritual beast, their whereabouts would be exposed. They had to think of a way. Yuan Ji, is there any spiritual beast that looks like a dog but has a very sensitive sense of smell that is good at tracking? Yun Chujo asked. Yuan Ji saw that Yun Chujia's expression was not too good, and he immediately had a guess. You're saying that the people chasing us have the Shao Tian hyena? If that's the case, then it's bad. It's rumored that the Shao Tian hyena has the Shao Tian dog's bloodline. Its sense of smell is extremely sensitive, and it can be tracked by just a little smell. Yun Chuzhou frowned. Shao Tian hyena? What's its weakness? Weakness? Yuan Ji thought for a moment. He said, it seems that this kind of Shao Tian hyena is mostly female. Therefore, it is very fond of high-level dogs or wolf-type demon beasts. Once it encounters a male dog or wolf-type demon beast, it will lose its mind. Yun Chuzhou, so it's a love-struck dog. Butt Face, who was in the spirit beast bag, suddenly shivered for some reason. He had a bad feeling. At this moment, he heard Yun Chujia's malicious voice, Butt Face, you are finally useful. Butt Face immediately rolled his eyes and fainted. He would rather be a single dog for the rest of his life than hook up with a love-struck dog. No. Yun Chujiu pulled Butt Face out. Before she could say anything, Butt Face knelt on the ground with tears streaming down his face. Yun Chujiu touched her nose guiltily. Butt Face, I'm not forcing you to do anything. I just want you to lure the hyena into the trap. Do you have to be so agitated? Butt Face, so it was just a seduction. It scared him to death. He thought he was going to make him contribute his pure flesh and body. Little fairy, I'm an ancient fierce beast after all. Such a shameful thing is not suitable for me. I think you can find a male wolf's body for Chi Ying and let him have a try, said Butt Face while blinking his dog eyes. Yun Chujiu glared at him and said, stop talking nonsense. If I tell you to go, then go. Otherwise, I'll teach you a lesson. Chapter 49-27 The beautiful dog trick. Butt Face whimpered, little fairy, I'm still a child. Is it really good for you to treat me like this? Yun Chujiu snorted coldly. Stop pretending to be young. Don't you know how old your core is? Butt Face only felt that he had suffered a critical hit of 10,000 points. He said with a face full of shame and anger, no matter how old my core is, I've never hooked up with a female before. I don't know how. Humph. Don't think that I don't know that you have read a lot of Meng Yanqi's books. If you continue to waste your time, I will make you sell your body. Yun Chujiu said coldly. Butt Face's body trembled. He said with a grievance, all right, I will try. But I can't guarantee that I will succeed. Yun Chujiu narrowed her eyes. Your mission is to lead that love-struck dog in a circle. After we set up the trap, you will lead that love-struck dog and the people from the Divine Devil Hall into the ambush circle. Dog 2 knew that there was no turning back, so it could only droop its head and seduce the Shao Tian hyena. The Shao Tian hyena was searching for Yun Chujiu and the others on the ground, and its eyes suddenly rippled. It smelled a strong scent of a male, and it was a very high-ranking male. The Shao Tian hyena immediately forgot about its original mission and began to chase after the scent of dog 2. The golden-masked man didn't know that Shao Tian hyena was a nymphomaniac. Seeing its speed suddenly increase, he thought that it was very close to Yun Chujiu and the others, so he hurried to chase after it with his men. Unfortunately, he didn't see anyone until the next night. Sir, why do I feel that we are going in a circle? Is there something wrong with this Shao Tian hyena? One of his men asked suspiciously. The golden-masked man shook his head. The Shao Tian hyena is the spiritual beast with the most sensitive sense of smell. Nothing will go wrong. That Yun Chujiu is full of tricks. Perhaps she is deliberately going in circles with us. Don't worry. We haven't rested, and they don't have time to rest. We have 10 times more people than them. No matter what tricks they have, it will be in vain. The subordinate didn't say anything more. Indeed, there was a huge difference in strength between the two sides, so there was no need to worry. Butt Face had never been so miserable before. He was running so fast that his legs were about to break. However, When he thought about the possibility of losing his virginity if he was chased by that infatuated dog, he could only continue to run in circles with all his might. Finally, he heard Yunchuji's voice, which sounded like the voice of a goddess. Lure them to me. Buttface immediately ran to where Yunchujo was, afraid that if he was half a step slower, he would be caught by the hyena. Yunchujo nodded, put Buttface into the spirit beast bag, and then laid in ambush. At this moment, Yuan Ji and the others were a little uncertain. Last time, they were faced with more than 100 people. They had won with a strategy. But this time, it was said that there were 300 to 400 people. Would it work? 15 minutes later, Xiao Tian Hyena rushed over with the people from the Divine Devil Hall. Xiao Tian Hyena's hair stood on end. It was already irritated by Buttface's walk. It smelled that the smell here was stronger than other places. It immediately rushed over, followed by the golden-masked man and the others. Under the cover of the night, this wasteland was no different from other places. The ground was full of short weeds. Even if someone wanted to ambush them, there was no place to hide. Therefore, the golden-masked man was completely unprepared. Chapter 49-28, Chase Me Boom. The ground suddenly caved in, and the ground was filled with poisoned blades, as well as the flying chili powder, soul-devouring powder. Before the people of the Divine Devil Hall could react, an indescribable talisman was thrown at them. Although some of them had instantly set up their spiritual energy shields when they felt that the situation was not good, when they stepped on their companions' corpses and jumped to the edge of the trap, they were stunned to find that their feet were stuck. Hei Shinjo released the purple needles and lightning while she was secretly happy. These were the strengthened sticky threads that she had gotten from the wool ball. They would not die from the sticky threads. The golden-masked man was both shocked and furious. He shouted, "Don't panic. We have more people than them. Even if they are tired, they will die from exhaustion." After all, the cultivation of the people of the Divine Devil Hall was not low. Although the traps had caught them off guard, only a small part of them had been used up. The remaining 200 people were still several times more than Yunchujo and the others. At this moment, Yunchujo shouted, "The wind is too strong." Immediately, Yuan Ji and the others followed Hei Shinjo and ran away. The golden-masked man naturally would not let them run away just like that. He chased after them with his men in exasperation. When Yunchujo saw a bush marked in front of her, she smiled evilly and gestured to the others. Everyone understood and immediately spread out to prevent the heavy weight from triggering a trap. The golden-masked man and the people from the Divine Devil Hall did not know that there would be a trap here. When they saw that Yunchujo and the others had passed through safely, they immediately chased after them without any preparation. Then, they were doomed. The weight of so many of them was enough to trigger a trap, and they immediately lost dozens of people. The golden-masked man was so angry that he was about to explode. This Yunchujo was indeed cunning. However, time was limited, so he did not believe that there was a third trap. Yuan Ji ran as he asked Yunchujo, "What should we do next? They still have more than 100 people, and we still can't beat them. Split up and kill them. Well, move separately, and their main force will definitely chase after me. You guys are responsible for killing the part of people who are chasing you, and then go and save me," Yunchujo said. This, Yuan Ji hesitated for a moment, but the situation was urgent, so he did not have the time to say anything. After thinking about this troublemaker who was full of bad ideas, there should be no problem. Immediately, he led his men and ran in the opposite direction of Yunchujo, while Yunchujo ran in another direction alone. After all, Yunchujo was their target. Hei Shinjo felt that she was a little tired, so she simply released puppet number 4 and ran forward with her on his back. This guy hooked his finger at the golden-masked man. "Idiot, you want to kill me? Dream on." Jin Mian was so angry that he almost died. He followed closely behind. As time passed, the distance between the two grew larger and larger. After all, puppet number 4 did not know that fatigue could keep him running. However, the people from the Divine Devil Hall could not do it. They had been walking by butt face for so long, and after 2 rounds of fighting, how could they catch up with puppet number 4? Just as the Jean Mian man was about to give up, he did not expect Yunchujo to put away the puppet and beckon with her finger at them. Chase me. Come and chase me. The Jean Mian man was so angry that he could not care less about why Yunchujo was courting death. He immediately led his men to chase after her again. Chapter 49-29. I'll deal with 30 by myself. The people of the Divine Devil Hall ran all the way from dark to dawn, but they still couldn't catch up with Yunchujo. Instead, they were so tired that they were panting. Hei Shinjo stood not far away from them, gnawing on a spiritual fruit as she said with a smile, "Let's go after them." "Why aren't we going after them?" Jean Mian was so angry that she almost died. From time to time, she could use a puppet as a means of transportation, and she could even take a nap in the middle of the journey. However, they were running all the time. Even cultivators couldn't stand it. Yunchujo saw Yuan Ji and the others who had rushed over not far away. She curled the corners of her lips and threw the fruit core in her hand away. "Come, I won't run this time. Let's spar." The golden-masked man also saw Yuan Ji and the others. His heart sank. Could it be that the people he had sent were all killed? However, they still had more people left than the other party. It was not certain who would win. Yuan Ji heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Hei Shinjo jumping around. They had the talismans and poison powder that Yunchujo had given them. Although they had spent some effort, they still managed to kill the pursuers. However, he was still uncertain. The other party still had nearly twice as many people as they did. They might not have a chance of winning. Yunchujo, Yuan Ji, and the others gathered together and said faintly, "Take off your clothes now. Take off your masks." Yuan Ji and the others were completely dumbfounded. What did they mean? Could it be that this troublemaker was coveting their beauty? At this time, there was actually such a playboy? Seeing that they didn't move, Yunchujo stared at them and said, "If you don't want to die, then quickly take off your masks." Yuan Ji gritted his teeth. Now was not the time to think about other things. Moreover, his pavilion master looked so devastatingly beautiful, but he didn't see this troublemaker being moved. They were even less worthy of her attention. He immediately took off his mask and coat, leaving only a set of undergarments. Seeing that Yuan Ji had taken off his clothes, the others had no choice but to do as he said. The golden-masked man and the people from the Divine Devil Hall panted heavily as they watched. They thought to themselves, what kind of trick is this? However, it was a good opportunity to recuperate. It was too tiring. Seeing that Yuan Ji and the others had taken off their outer clothes, Yunchujo said heroically, "I'll deal with 30 by myself. You guys split the rest." 30? She could even deal with 3 by herself. Just as Yuan Ji and the others were thinking that Yunchujo was spouting nonsense, they saw a black fog rapidly moving towards them from afar. Everyone was shocked. What was that? When the black fog got closer, everyone realized that it was hundreds of flower-bellied poison-tailed spirit bees. But why did these flower-bellied poison-tailed spirit bees come here? Yunchujo narrowed her eyes and waved her claws. "Little babies, kill them." The flower-bellied poison-tailed spirit bees immediately rushed towards the people of the Divine Devil Hall. They only recognized clothes and not people. The female devil had said that anyone wearing a mask would be killed. Although the flower-bellied poison-tailed spirit bees were of a low grade, they could not withstand the large number of them. Moreover, they could fly. Moreover, their stingers were highly poisonous. The people of the Divine Devil Hall were really unlucky. On one hand, they had to deal with Yuan Ji and the others. On the other hand, they also had to guard against the sneak attacks of the flower-bellied poison-tailed spirit bees. On top of that, they had exhausted their physical strength. Very quickly, they fell into a disadvantageous position. An hour later, all the people from the Divine Devil Hall were killed. Yuan Ji looked at the swarm of bees surrounding He Xinjiu, and the doubt in his heart was finally solved. So she didn't know how to calculate anything, but it was because of these little things. Chapter 49:30. Do you have any face? Just as Yuan Ji was in a daze, Yun Chuzhou curled her lips. What are you standing there for? Why aren't you putting away the bodies of these people? Oh right, put on your clothes and masks again. If you don't feel embarrassed, I feel embarrassed. After all, my face is so thin. Do you have any face? After everyone was done packing up, Yuan Ji looked at the swarm of bees and said, the reason you were able to predict the movements of the other party earlier was because of those flower abdomen poisonous tail spirit bees? Yun Chuzhou nodded. Yes, if it weren't for those little things, we wouldn't have been able to go so smoothly. Yuan Ji was even more puzzled. Demonic insects were different from demonic beasts. Adult insects could not form a contract. Only insect eggs could form a contract. How did this troublemaker do it? He did not ask. He knew that even if he asked Yun Chuzhou, she would not tell him. At this moment, one of his subordinates said excitedly, "Oh my God, I just did some calculations. We have already killed 500 to 600 people from the Divine Devil Hall. We have less than 40 people in total, but we have actually killed so many people. This is too amazing." Yuan Ji did some calculations. Moreover, it had only been a few days. Most importantly, apart from a few of them who were more seriously injured, the rest of them only had minor injuries. If this were to be revealed, no one would believe it. Yuan Ji looked at Yun Chuzhou with a complicated expression. It seemed like it was not unreasonable for their pavilion master to like this troublemaker. This troublemaker's brain was really good. However, when he thought of the things that he was about to face, a hint of worry appeared on his face. We are about to enter the hinterland of the wilderness of wild hope. The rank of those flower-bellied poison-tail spirit bees is too low. I'm afraid that they won't be able to survive in the hinterland. In this way, we won't have any helpers to inform the others. Moreover, we have basically killed all the people in the periphery. The people in the hinterland must have already received the news. I'm afraid that they have already set up a trap and are waiting for us to enter. Yun Chuzhou nodded. You're right, so we have to be very careful from now on. Everyone is very tired these 2 days. Let's go to another place to rest for half a day before we set off. Everyone was indeed very tired. They immediately found a safer place with Yun Chuzhou and began to rest. Yuan Ji, you are so greedy that you have become a flower. No wonder he had asked him to put away all the corpses. However, he did not dare to say much, so he could only keep watch while taking out the rings. After Yun Chuzhou woke up, she looked at the pile of rings and smiled happily. Yuan Ji pursed his lips. He was really poor to the point of going crazy. Yun Chuzhou sent her spiritual sense into the rings one by one, leaving behind the talismans and pills that she had never seen before for future research. She distributed the rest of the talismans and elixirs to everyone, and even divided the spirit stones inside equally. Yuan Ji was completely dumbfounded. It was raining red? This iron rooster had actually plucked feathers? Yun Chuzhou tossed a spirit stone in her hand and said, "If you have money, everyone will be rich. As long as you follow me, I will definitely not mistreat you." Only then did Yuan Ji understand that this fellow was actually trying to buy people's hearts. How insidious. Those subordinates did not care whether Yun Chuzhou was trying to buy the hearts of the people or not. The spirit stones that they obtained were real. Therefore, their enmity towards Yun Chuzhou had weakened quite a bit. Yuan Ji sighed in his heart. He reckoned that when he met Di Baiming, these subordinates would become the people who caused trouble. Chapter 49:31. Keeping your mouth shut. Just as Yuan Ji was thinking about it, he suddenly stood up and looked into the distance. Yun Shujo also sensed that something was approaching. She was puzzled. They were still at the periphery of Wild Hope Wilderness. If there were still remnants of the Divine Devil Hall, those flower-bellied poisonous tail spirit bees would have notified her. Why was there no movement? At this moment, Yun Shujia's pupils constricted. Because she had already seen clearly that it was not the people of the Divine Devil Hall who came, but it was the Shao Tian hyena. Previously, everyone was busy fighting with the people of the Divine Devil Hall, so no one paid attention to where the Shao Tian hyena went. They did not expect it to chase here. The Shao Tian hyena's body was full of dust. It was staggering as it walked. No one knew if it was injured or too tired. The Shao Tian hyena whimpered at Yun Shujo. Yun Shujo could hear some sadness from its whimper. Yun Shujo sighed in her heart. This love-struck dog was too infatuated with Butt-Face, wasn't it? It actually chased it all the way here? She looked at Yuan Ji, who was also dumbfounded, and asked, Yuan Ji, is this Shao Tian hyena so infatuated with all the males? Yuan Ji shook his head. It is said that this hyena is very romantic before it finds a male that it likes, but once it finds a target, it will be faithful. I think this hyena is most likely interested in your spiritual pet. Otherwise, if its master died, it would be eager to regain its freedom. Why would it chase after you here? Yun Shujo nodded in a daze and said to the hyena, well, I admire your courage, but you are too blind. Butt-Face is not as wise and mighty as you think. He is still a puppy. The hyena whimpered again. It probably meant that it did not believe it. Yun Shujo felt that it was necessary to let Dog 2 out so that the Shao Tian hyena would give up on this idea. Therefore, she let Dog 2 out. Dog 2 had a look of disdain on its face. How could a mere Shao Tian hyena dare to dream about its ancient fierce beast? It didn't want its dog face. The Shao Tian hyena was also stunned when it saw Dog 2. This had nothing to do with its original imagination of being tall and mighty. Shao Tian hyena immediately turned around and left. It didn't like a puppy at all. When Butt-Face saw Shao Tian hyena leaving just like that, he immediately exploded in anger. "Oh. What a superficial female. Humph." Yun Shujo blinked her eyes. The Shao Tian hyena's sense of smell was quite sensitive. It would be good if it could be taken as its own. Moreover, Yuan Ji said that the Shao Tian hyena had the bloodline of the Shao Tian dog. Perhaps, with a mutation, she would be rich. Therefore, she said with a smile, "Hey, why don't you follow me? I promise to help you find a male that is 10,000 times stronger than Butt-Face. You can have as many as you want. Besides, although your sense of smell is sensitive, you don't have any other abilities. You might not be able to survive in the wilderness." Shao Tian hyena hesitated for a moment. The wilderness was indeed not suitable for it to survive. Moreover, this little girl seemed to understand its thoughts, so it was not bad to follow her. After hesitating for a moment, Shao Tian hyena still signed an equal contract with Yun Shujo. Butt-Face stared at the hyena and snorted in his heart. This female said that she despised it, but in the end, she gave up her freedom to stay by its side. What a liar. Chapter 49-32, Peach Blossom. Yun Shujo looked at the Shao Tian hyena and said happily, "Since you are my spiritual pet now, I have to give you a good name." The group of silly cuties in the spiritual beast bag collectively lit a candle for the Shao Tian hyena. A good name? It would be strange if this useless name could give a good name. Shao Hei, Shao Hong, Shao Mogu, which one of them was a good name? Shao Tian hyena didn't know that the guy in front of him was useless in naming names, so he just waited anxiously. After a long time, Hei Shinjo said proudly, "Isn't your life pursuit a lot of males? Then I will give you a good name to attract peach blossoms. You will be called Peach Blossoms from now on." This name can attract peach blossoms, and it's also a girl's name. It's really very suitable. Xiao Tian Hyena believed it and immediately used his spiritual sense to say happily, "Thank you for the name, Master. From now on, my name will be Peach Blossoms." Yuan Jis' eyes twitched. Peach Blossoms? How could such a maid's name be a good name? Buttface looked at the freshly baked peach blossoms and snorted coldly, "I'm warning you, don't have any improper thoughts about me. I'm very clean." Unfortunately, Peach Blossom didn't even look at him. He liked strong and majestic males, but he didn't like such a puppy. Seeing that Peach Blossom ignored him, Buttface snorted in his heart. It was just a trick to play hard to get. Did he think he could fool it? He had to be more careful in the future to avoid being sullied by this nymphomaniac. Yun Shujo didn't have time to pay attention to Buttface's thoughts. She put both Buttface and Peach Blossom into the spirit beast bag. She originally wanted to let Peach Blossom lead the way, but seeing that it was too tired, she decided to let it rest first. Seeing that everyone was about to rest, Yun Shujo waved her hand. "Let's go," Yuan Ji said as they walked. "The hinterland of the wilderness is ahead. There must be people from the Divine Devil Hall patrolling there. Are we going to go there recklessly?" Yun Shujo said with a smile, "Don't worry. I have a way to avoid their sentry posts." Yuan Ji was skeptical. The flower belly poison tail spirit bee could not survive in the hinterland. What else could she do? Just as Yuan Ji was wondering, he saw Yun Shujo take out a small mushroom and put it on her hair. Xiao Mogu was very small. Those who did not know about it would think that it was just a hairpin. Yuan Ji was very puzzled. Could it be that the method she mentioned was this Xiao Mogu? What could this Xiao Mogu do? One of the records clearly stated that there were many spiritual mushrooms growing in the hinterland of the wilderness. Although most of them were only low-level spiritual mushrooms, there were many kinds of them, and many of them were highly toxic. Although the Xiao Mogu in Yun Shuji's hand could not control the high-level spiritual mushrooms, it was not a problem to control these low-level spiritual mushrooms. With these spiritual mushrooms that were widely distributed, she could avoid those people from the Divine Devil Hall. However, she was wrong about one thing. The spiritual intelligence of those spiritual mushrooms was much lower than that of the flower belly poison tail spiritual bee, so the information she received was not complete. The people of the Divine Devil Hall had mobilized nearly 1,000 people to form a pocket-sized encirclement when the peripheral forces were damaged. Therefore, although Yun Shujo and the others had smoothly entered the hinterland of the wilderness, they had also entered the encirclement of the Divine Devil Hall. As the encirclement shrank, Yun Shujo finally sensed danger from the scattered information of the spiritual mushrooms. Chapter 49-33 Encirclement. Yun Shujo reflected on herself. She had underestimated the enemy. She thought that with the help of those mushrooms, she could easily avoid the people of the Divine Devil Hall. She did not expect to fall into their trap. She told Yuan Ji her guess. "We are now in the encirclement of the Divine Devil Hall. The best way now is to break out from one side as soon as possible. Otherwise, when they completely encircle us, we can only surrender." Yuan Ji's heart sank when he heard that, even if we break out from one side, we will have to face at least 100 to 200 people. Moreover, the enemies around us will come to support us very soon. We only have less than 40 people. This is too difficult. Yun Shujo thought that what Yuan Ji said made sense. It was really difficult to break out of the encirclement successfully. What should she do? Yun Shujo could not help but feel a little regretful. If she had known that this would happen, she would not have brought Yuan Ji and the others in. If she was alone, she might have been able to sneak out of the encirclement. However, with these 40 people together, it was really impossible to leave the encirclement without anyone noticing. Yuan Ji saw that Yun Shuji's expression was unprecedentedly serious. He could not help but shake his head and smile bitterly. He said that it was impossible for these people to fight against the Divine Devil Hall with only a few thousand people. Now, they had fallen into their ambush and could only wait for their deaths. The others were also dejected. It seemed that it was just a coincidence that they won with fewer people. They would not be able to survive this time. Yun Shujo squatted on the ground and drew the current situation on the ground with a wooden stick based on the information provided by the mushrooms. Yuan Jis' heart turned even colder when he saw the troop deployment of the Celestial Devil Temple. The people of the Divine Devil Hall were divided into 5 groups. Each group had at least 200 people. The distance between each group was only about 10 miles, and it was still shrinking. In less than an hour, the people of the Divine Devil Hall would form an encirclement. Yuan Ji wanted to say something, but he thought about it and decided to swallow it. There was no point in complaining now. He was going to die anyway. Yun Shujo closed her eyes. There were infinite possibilities before the last moment. After thinking carefully, there would definitely be a way. As she thought about it, her eyes suddenly lit up. I got it. This guy smiled sinisterly. Encirclement? Good, very good. Then let them lift a stone and smash their own feet. Yuan Ji saw that Yun Shujo actually smiled strangely. He thought to himself, this troublemaker is crazy, right? Yuan Ji shook his head and smiled bitterly. He thought that she had thought of a good idea, but it turned out that it was still breaking out of the encirclement. Forget it, there was no other good idea other than this. He could only leave it to fate. Yuan Ji and the others immediately made preparations, but Yun Shujo did not give the order to set off. Yun Shujo, what do you mean? Didn't you say you want to break out of the encirclement? Why haven't you given the order yet? Yuan Ji asked unhappily. The corners of Yun Shuji's lips curled up. Wait, there's no rush. Well, break out of the encirclement after the Divine Devil Hall has completely surrounded us. Yuan Ji, is this troublemaker crazy? Why didn't he take the opportunity to break out of the encirclement now and wait for the others to surround him before breaking out? Weren't they just making things difficult for themselves? The others also had the same thoughts. They thought that Yun Shujo was quite smart before, but now they could tell that she was an idiot with just one look. The crowd had no choice but to wait with their eyes wide open. They were filled with resentment towards Yun Shujo. They were really going to be killed by her now. Chapter 49-34. Could it be that little sister Jo is here? 15 minutes later, just as Yuan Ji could no longer bear it and wanted to question Yun Shujo again, the ground began to tremble slightly and the faint roar of a beast could be heard from afar. Yuan Ji was shocked. Could it be a beast tide? His face immediately turned pale. What kind of bad luck was this? Not only was he surrounded by the people from the Divine Devil Hall, but he had also encountered a beast tide. This time, forget about whether he would die or not, he reckoned that even his bones would not be left behind. The rest of the people were also panicking. Only the smile on Yun Shuji's face grew bigger and bigger. Go Weiba was still reliable, so she should scold it less in the future. Guai Chao waved its leaves proudly. It was very capable. If not for... Humph. Yun Shujo pressed her ears to the ground and listened for a while. Her face was full of a sinister smile. She had used the Guai Chao to attract the demonic beasts, and the encirclement formed by the Divine Devil Hall had coincidentally become a barrier to protect her. With the collision of the demonic beasts, the Divine Devil Hall's casualties aside, they had at least broken through the encirclement. As long as she grasped the right opportunity, she could make use of this chaotic space to break through successfully. Hei Shinjo stood up and said to Yuan Ji and the others, whose faces were pale, "Follow me." Everyone was trying their best. Therefore, they didn't say anything and just followed Hei Shinjo in circles. Yuan Ji felt as if his heart was going crazy. Didn't they say that they were going to break out of the encirclement? Why were they going in circles? Were they idling? He didn't know that the reason why He Shinjo was going in circles was to make the monsters change directions and charge at the encirclement of the Divine Devil Hall, making their defense line even more chaotic. Yun Shujo felt that the fire was almost ready, so she stopped Guai Chao from releasing its scent. Then, according to the information sent by the mushrooms, she led Yuan Ji and the others to the gap of the encirclement. At this moment, in an underground cave in the deep region of the wilderness, Xue Wuji muttered, "Little madman, did you hear anything?" And Feng shook his head. "There's no sound except for the sound of the wind. Could it be that those people are chasing us?" "No, why do I feel that the ground shook a few times just now? Could it be that the earth dragon has turned over?" Xue Wuji said in a surprised tone. And Feng said in a speechless manner, "You're thinking too much. Since there were records, there has never been an earth dragon turning over in the Wild Hope Wilderness. I guess you've been too nervous these days, so you're hallucinating." Xue Wuji nodded and said, "What you said makes sense. These days have really tired me out." Those bastards were determined to kill facial paralysis. Fortunately, the terrain in the deep region of the wilderness was complicated, and the weather was very bad. It was good for us to hide. And Feng nodded. "I also feel that it seems to have decreased a little. Could it be that the Divine Devil Hall has withdrawn a part of their manpower for some reason?" Xue Wuji curled his lips. "Those people from the Divine Devil Hall can't wait to kill the facial paralysis. They should have sent more troops. Why would they withdraw?" At this moment, Di Baiming, who had been listening to them, said weakly, "You sent Little Jiao a message. Isn't she here?" Xue Wuji was delighted. "Are you stupid? Little Jiao doesn't know that we're in the wilderness. Why would she suddenly come here? Besides, didn't you tell her not to leave the Lan family?" Di Baiming revealed a bitter smile. Who could hide what little Jiao wanted to know from her? Xue Wuji saw the bitter smile on the corner of his mouth and was suspicious. Could it really be little sister Jiao? Chapter 49-35. I'll hold them off. Xue Wuji took out the voice transmission talisman suspiciously. "Little sister Jiao, have you left the Lan family?" This fellow was still a little shrewd. He did not directly ask if Yun Shujo had gone to the wilderness. Otherwise, if Yun Shujo had not come, wouldn't the secret be leaked? After a quarter of an hour, the voice transmission talisman began to tremble. Yun Shujia's heroic voice came from within. "Brother Wuji, are you guys in the deep region now? You guys hide well. I will soon lead an army of 10,000 to save the hero." Xue Wuji, she really came? However, where did she get an army of 10,000? Xue Wuji told Di Baiming the news about the voice transmission talisman. The bitter smile on Di Baiming's face deepened as he said with difficulty, "She lied to us. If she really had an army of 10,000, she would have contacted us long ago. You tell her to be careful, be safe." Xue Wuji thought about it and agreed. With little sister Jiao's temper, she would have been proud if she really had an army of 10,000 soldiers. How could she be so quiet? He took out the voice transmission talisman and said, "Little sister Jiao, the facial paralysis asked me to tell you to be careful. We are not in any danger for the time being. You have to be careful." Yun Shujia's reply this time was very short. "Okay, see you later." Xue Wuji put away the voice transmission talisman and said sourly, "Facial paralysis, little sister Jiao is really good to you. I really envy you." Xue Wuji's words came from the bottom of his heart. Compared to Yun Shujiao and Di Baiming, his woman, pervert, and wolf were simply heartless to him. Other than giving birth to a child for him, they did not even give him a smile. When Di Baiming heard Xue Wuji's words, his heart was filled with heartache and guilt. Little Jiao had given up too much for him, but what he had done for her was very limited. On the other side, He Shinjo had already successfully jumped out of the encirclement. Due to the impact of the demonic beasts, the Divine Devil Hall's team was scattered, so they did not spend much effort. However, their whereabouts were also exposed. The Divine Devil Hall's people were closely chasing after them. This is not a solution. These people's cultivation levels are obviously stronger than those in the outer circle. We can't outrun them, Yuan Ji said as he panted heavily. He and Yun Chujiu were better off, but the movement techniques of his subordinates were not good. The people of the Divine Devil Hall were getting closer and closer to them. Yun Chujiu knew that he was right. If they did not think of a solution as soon as possible, the people of the Divine Devil Hall would soon catch up to them. However, what could they do to get rid of them? It was obviously not feasible to divide and conquer because there were too many people this time. Even if they split into two, Yuan Ji and the others would not be able to deal with them. At this moment, little Wu Yun, who had always had a weaker sense of presence, said, "Master, I should be able to fly from here. However, I can only bear the weight of you alone, and there is a time limit." Yun Chujiu was stunned. That's right, she still had little Wu Yun. She blinked her eyes. Even if the time was limited, it was enough to deal with these scumbags. At the very least, it could slow them down. Therefore, she said to Yuan Ji, "Take the people and run quickly. I'll hold them off." Yuan Ji looked at her in disbelief. What? What did you say? Sigh, if I don't go to hell, who will? You are in danger because of me. I will protect you even if I have to sacrifice my life, He Xinjiu said in a pretentious manner. Chapter 49-36, The little Wu Yun who cheated people. Yuan Ji could not believe his ears. This troublemaker had such awareness? She must be kidding. But seeing that she did not look like she was joking, he asked suspiciously, "Is it true?" "Of course it's true. You guys run quickly, I'll hold them off." Yun Chujiu looked righteous. Yuan Ji and the others looked at her with a complicated gaze, then they gritted their teeth and ran forward. Yun Chujiu curled her lips. They really all ran away? No one knew if she would reject them with a fake look. She was really honest. The people from the Divine Devil Hall saw Yun Chujiu from afar. They were all surprised. Could it be that Yun Chujiu wanted to surrender? At this moment, Yun Chujiu beckoned them with her finger. "Come on, scum. Catch me." He Xinjiu's behavior confused the people of the Divine Devil Hall. A man with a golden mask said, "Ladies and gentlemen, it is said that Yun Chujiu is full of evil tricks. Is she playing some tricks? Could she have set a trap? We have been chasing after her. She has no time to set any traps. I think she is just playing tricks. Who cares? Send someone to check it out." Another golden-masked man said. Immediately, the golden-masked man sent dozens of his men to rush toward He Xinjiu. He Xinjiu summoned little Wu Yun unhurriedly and prepared to fly into the air to clean up the scum of the godly devil palace. However, she heard little Wu Yun say in a panic, "Master, I made a wrong judgment. I can't fly from here." Yun Chujiu, she had already finished showing off. She had already said those righteous words, and now you said that you can't fly? Are you playing with me? This fellow didn't have the time to clean up little Wu Yun now. After putting it into his storage ring, he threw a few sacks of chili noodles and talismans behind him and ran forward. Yuan Ji and the others in the distance were speechless when they saw this. Was this what she meant by stalling for time? She did not stall for more than 10 breaths, all right? However, perhaps she had other ways. They did not care so much. It was more important for them to escape as soon as possible. He Xinjia's heart was like a beeping dog when she heard the shouts behind her. She had no choice but to summon puppet number 4 and puppet number 5 and let them carry her. At this moment, Buddha's candle said in a fawning manner, "Master, didn't you play the Sanskrit when you were in the Zen sect? The destructive power of that thing is not ordinary. Although it can't kill all these people, it can still buy some time." Yun Chujiu's eyes lit up at first, and then she said dejectedly, I was lucky that time. I don't know the Sanskrit at all. But, in my previous life, the secret skill of the Sanskrit was stolen by you. And you said that only your musical talent is worthy of the Sanskrit. Yun Chuzhou, in her previous life, she was really worthy of the title of female devil. However, even if she knew how to do it in her previous life, she didn't know how to do it now. Forget it, I'll try my best. This guy took out a piece of jade glass Bodhi leaf and put it to his mouth. He thought about how he used to play Little Cabbage in the Zen sect. This time, he might as well play Little Cabbage as well. Therefore, this guy started to play. Chapter 49:37. Buddha's candle. The jade glass Bodhi leaf was filled with Buddha power, so the music spread across a wide area. Even Yuan Ji and the others in front could hear it. Yuan Ji staggered and almost fell to the ground. This troublemaker actually had the mood to play a song? How big was her heart? The people from the Divine Devil Hall were even more dumbfounded. This Yun Chuzhou was a lunatic, right? Why was she playing a tune? Hei Xinzhou was full of hope. She thought that once the tune was played, the people from the Divine Devil Hall would be immersed in the tune. However, after playing it 3 times, there was nothing unusual. The guy thought about it and switched to the cheerful 2 tigers. However, it still did not have any effect. Instead, his cheeks were hurting from the blowing. The guy said to Buddha's candle unhappily, "Clown candle, didn't you say that I know Sanskrit? Why doesn't it have any effect at all? Tell me." Buddha's candle, "You fucking forgot how to blow it, and you still blame it?" However, it didn't dare to tell the truth and stammered, This, I don't know." Yun Chuzhou snorted coldly, "Ever since I took you in, you haven't made any contribution. Shouldn't you do something?" Buddha's candle said guiltily, "I've been asleep for too long, and I used a lot of Buddhist energy in the Zen sect before. Now, I basically have no ability. I don't care. In short, you have to possess one of the golden masked men and cause internal strife. Otherwise, I will pull out your candle wick." Yun Chuzhou did not believe its nonsense. Buddha's candle was so regretful that its intestines turned green. If it had known earlier, it would not have said anything. It could only say with grievance, "I can do as you say, but in this way, my remaining Buddha's power will be exhausted. You have to think of a way to help me replenish my Buddha's power." Yun Chuzhou said perfunctorily, "That's easy to say. You have to do as I say first. Hurry up." Buddha's candle had no choice but to possess one of the slightly chubby golden masked men. Following that, the fat man who was possessed slapped the golden masked man next to him and cursed, "You idiot." The skinny man who was slapped was dumbfounded. "Shi Huan, are you crazy? Why are you hitting me?" "I'm hitting you. Don't think I don't know what you've done." The fatty gave him another slap. This time, the skinny man couldn't take it anymore. He gave the fatty a slap. Unexpectedly, the fatty didn't dodge and was sent flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Although his subordinates were somewhat dumbfounded, their leader had been beaten. Naturally, they would not let the matter rest. Hence, they started fighting with the underlings of the thin man. Yun Chuzhou narrowed her eyes as she looked at the people of the Divine Devil Hall who were fighting together. She felt that Buddha's candle's ability was simply too useful. However, this fellow did not have much Buddha's energy left. Otherwise, it would be a sharp weapon to sow discord. She did not have the time to look at it. Anyway, the people from the Divine Devil Hall had already turned red-eyed from the fight, so they did not have the time to care about her. After Buddha's candle killed Fatty's primordial spirit, it left Fatty's body. "My Buddha's energy is almost exhausted. I might fall into a deep sleep. Remember to help me replenish my Buddha's energy." Before Buddha's candle could finish speaking, he fell into a deep sleep. Yun Chuzhou did not have time to check on Buddha's candle's situation and think about the next step. Chapter 49-38 Demonic beasts were much cuter than humans. Yunchujo frowned. The people led by Fatty and Skinny were only the vanguard of the pursuit. There were hundreds of people behind them. If they could not kill them, it would be even more difficult to attack them from both inside and outside when they reached the deep region. It seemed that she needed to find some helpers. Puppet number 4 and puppet number 5 were very fast. They caught up with Yuan Ji and the others in a short while. Yuan Ji didn't know what happened behind them, but seeing that no one was chasing after them, he couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. Yunchujo took out the map and pointed at a place, saying, "Let's go there to hide for a while." Yuan Ji looked like he was looking at a fool and said, "This is the lair of a high-level demon beast in the wilderness. Are you sure you're going there to hide, not to die?" Yunchujo sighed. "There are people from the deep region blocking us in front, and there are pursuers from the divine devil hall behind us. Other than here, we have nowhere else to go. Besides, don't you think that demon beasts are much cuter than humans?" Yuan Ji and the others shook their heads like a rattledrum. These high-level demon beasts were much more terrifying than humans. If it wasn't for the divine devil hall's large number of people and the fear of those demon beasts, would they still want to walk around the wilderness? It was simply a dream. Moreover, the demonic beasts had been in a riot previously. If they went to their nest now, wouldn't they be sending themselves to their deaths? However, Yuan Ji and the others still followed Yunchujo unwillingly. This was because they had unknowingly treated Hei Shinjo as their backbone. Yunchujo wasn't too confident either. Although she had fooled the demonic beasts many times, it was rumored that the demonic beasts in the wilderness were very unruly. Would it work? However, she had no other choice but to bite the bullet. In order to end the battle quickly, Yunchujo let the Guai Chao give off a faint smell. Soon, the roar of a beast could be heard from afar. Yuan Ji was so scared that he staggered. Just as he was about to persuade Yunchujo to leave, he heard Yunchujo stretching her neck and shouting, "Hey! Lord Demonic Beasts, come out quickly. I've brought you food." Yuan Ji almost fell to the ground. Didn't they bring food? They would soon become snacks for the demonic beasts. The others were also trembling with fear. They wanted to run away, but when they thought of the pursuers of the divine devil hall, they could only grit their teeth and hope for a miracle. Soon, demonic beasts of all sizes came out from the bushes and caves in the distance. Those demonic beasts all had fierce looks in their eyes. Some of them even drooled, which made people's scalp go numb. As the Guai Chao had stopped emitting the smell, and Yunchujo had deliberately used the cleaning spell a few times, the demonic beasts did not discover the source of the smell. However, they looked at Yunchujo and the others with brutal and greedy eyes. Just like how demonic beasts were food for humans, humans were delicious food for demonic beasts. Naturally, they would drool over them. If it was not for the fact that they were afraid of each other, they would have swarmed over long ago. Yunchujo smiled and waved her claws. "Lord Demonic Beasts, this is our first time in the wilderness, so we brought some gifts to visit you." The demon beasts looked at each other. This person was most likely an idiot, right? Bringing gifts to visit them? Was he crazy? Chapter 49-39 Yuan Ji. The demonic beasts roared in anger after they recovered from their shock. They felt that Yunchujo was toying with them. This was because they had never heard that humans would give gifts to demonic beasts. Their goal was to hunt them, hypocritical and stupid humans. Yuan Ji admitted that he had seen big things before, but his legs were slightly trembling. "Oh God, it's over, it's over." These demonic beasts were obviously enraged. Even if they wanted to run, they couldn't outrun these demonic beasts. At this moment, Yunchujo said with a smile, "Dear demonic beasts, what I said is the truth. I guarantee that you will like the gifts I brought." Yuan Ji, take out the gifts. Yuan Ji, where would he get such a bullshit gift? Has this troublemaker really gone crazy? Yun Shujo rolled her eyes at him. I'm talking about the corpses of those people from the Divine Devil Hall. Forget it, just transfer them to me. I'll give them to the demonic beasts. Yuan Ji was stunned as he transferred the corpses of the Divine Devil Hall to Yun Shujo. Then, he saw Yun Shujo throw them one by one in front of the demon beasts. Demon beasts, these are the gifts we prepared for you. Are you satisfied with them? Yun Shujo said with a smile. The demon beasts were all dumbfounded. These were the corpses of high-level cultivators. To them, they were simply a delicacy that could only be found by chance. Moreover, there were so many of them, and they were all given to them. Could it be that they had poisoned them? Yun Shujo seemed to have seen through their thoughts. She smiled and said, demon beasts are naturally sensitive to poison. I'm not stupid enough to poison the corpses. Moreover, your bodies are strong. The poison of humans is not of much use to you, so why should I seek my own death? Yun Shujo threw out the corpses and deliberately removed some that had been poisoned to death. Basically, they were all killed. The demonic beasts felt that what Yun Shujo said made sense. Furthermore, it would be a waste not to eat the delicacies in their mouths. Hence, the demonic beasts immediately snatched away the corpses that Yun Shujo had thrown on the ground. Soon, the air was filled with the smell of blood. No matter how Yuan Ji and the others who were licking the blood on their blades saw the scene in front of them, they also felt a little uncomfortable. However, Yun Shuji's expression did not change. It was as if this was a normal occurrence. Yuan Ji inexplicably shivered. On one hand, it was because of Yun Shuji's indifference. On the other hand, it was because he suspected that Yun Shujo had asked him to keep the corpses of these people to feed these demonic beasts. Her thoughts were too unfathomable. At this moment, Yun Shujo tilted her head and looked at Yuan Ji, revealing a sinister smile. The corners of Yun Shuji's mouth curled up, and she turned her head away, no longer looking at him. Yuan Ji's heart immediately began to beat. What did she mean? Although there were several hundred corpses that Yun Shujo had thrown out, due to the large number of demonic beasts, they were all eaten in less than 15 minutes. Furthermore, due to the stimulation of the fresh blood, the demonic beasts looked at Yun Shujo and the rest with even more bloodthirsty eyes. Yuan Ji smiled bitterly in his heart. It's over, it's over. This little girl had finally overlooked the wild nature of the demonic beasts. How could they be easy to deal with? Yun Shuji's next words almost scared Yuan Ji to death. Lord Demonic Beasts, are you not full? Actually, if you are willing, I can give you some living people to taste it. For example, this Yuan Ji beside me is white and tender. He must taste good. Chapter 49-39. I am willing to be a servant girl. Yuan Ji almost fell to the ground. No wonder she looked at him with a sinister smile. So she was planning to feed him to the demonic beasts? This troublemaker was too ruthless. Many of the demonic beasts' bloody gazes were fixed on Yuan Ji. The living were much more delicious than the dead. Yuan Ji was hesitating whether he should run for his life when he heard Yun Shujo chuckle, "Dear demon beasts, don't be anxious. You have so many of us. We are not enough to fill the gaps between your teeth. Why don't we work together? We will act as bait and lure you into the ambush. Then, you can enjoy the delicious food to your heart's content." Yuan Ji felt that Yun Shujo had completely gone mad. Work together with demon beasts? This was simply like taking the chestnuts out of the fire, pulling the teeth out of the tiger's mouth, and seeking death by playing tricks. Putting aside whether these demonic beasts would agree or not, even if they did agree, how could these demonic beasts have any credibility? In the end, even if they really ate those people from the Divine Devil Hall, they would still be eaten in the end. Those demonic beasts began to bellow disdainfully, cooperating with the foolish and greedy humans. Not interested. Some of the demonic beasts had even approached the group, planning to start a massacre. Yuan Ji and the others' hearts were in their throats, and their faces became panicked. However, He Xinjia's expression remained the same. She said with a smile, "If we cooperate, not only will you be able to eat fresh humans, but you will also be able to obtain a large number of pills from them. I heard that the beasts in the wilderness are much more intelligent than the beasts in other places. You won't reject such a good deal, right? Furthermore, you don't have to worry about us playing any tricks. After all, you can easily take care of us." Yun Shujiu paused for a moment, then said with a hint of provocation, "Or are you afraid of those people? You don't dare to be their enemy?" These demonic beasts were the most unruly. Hearing Yun Shujiu's words, they immediately roared angrily. What a joke! Would they be afraid of those stupid humans? Yun Shujiu's face revealed a perfect expression of worship. "I told you, the great demonic beasts of the wilderness are the most heroic. Naturally, they won't be afraid of those scumbags." Yun Shujiu flattered them a few more times, and after those demonic beasts stopped looking at her cruelly, she said, "Since all the demonic beasts have agreed to cooperate, then let's discuss the next plan. However, you can understand my words, but I can't understand your words. Why don't all the demonic beasts choose a few leaders to establish a spiritual connection with me? Don't worry, I'm just a weak piece of trash. I don't have the guts or the powerful spiritual sense to do anything." The demon beasts looked at Yun Shujiu suspiciously. They were obviously wary of this suggestion. Yun Shujiu spread her hands. "It seems that you don't dare to establish a spiritual connection with me? Are you afraid of a trash like me?" Immediately, the demonic beasts began to roar in disdain. They could kill this human girl with a single swipe of their claws. Who would be afraid of her? Immediately, 5 different types of demonic beasts walked to the front. Clearly, they had more authority among these demonic beasts. Yun Shujiu immediately said with a smile, "The 5 sirs look extraordinary. Come, establish a spiritual connection with me. I'm willing to be a servant for the 5 sirs." Chapter 49-41. The Beast King's plans. The 5 demonic beasts' faces were filled with disdain and arrogance as they took the initiative to establish a spiritual connection with Yun Shujiu. Yun Shujiu's body shook slightly. My spiritual sense is too weak. Just establishing a spiritual connection with the lords is enough to make me dizzy." The 5 demonic beasts looked at Yun Shujiu with even more disdain. She was really too weak. They didn't know that the human girl was trying to use the demon beasts to kill people, but so what? Not only could they eat more people with her help, they could also get a lot of pills and eat them all in the end. Want to scheme against them? Dream on. Yuan Ji looked at the weak He Xinjiu and lit a candle for the demon beasts in his heart. He didn't know anything else, but this little girl's spiritual sense was weak. What kind of joke was this? How could a spiritual sense that could command 8 flying swords be weak? But what was this little girl up to? At this moment, He Xinjiu, whose face was a little pale, said to the 5 beast kings, "My lords, may I know your names?" Wild Hope Raging Tiger King. Wild Hope Raging Lion King. Wild Hope Great Wolf King. Wild Hope Raging Leopard King. Wild Hope Raging Bear King. The 5 beast kings roared arrogantly one after another, exuding a domineering aura. Yun Shujiu said obediently, "No wonder I didn't dare to look straight at the 5 lords when I saw them. So it's the Tiger King, Lion King, Wolf King, Leopard King, and Bear King. Greetings, my lady." The 5 beast kings nodded in satisfaction. This little girl really knew how to talk. I'll eat her up in the end. However, there are many other kinds of demonic beasts here besides the 5 of you. I wonder if they will listen to your orders? Yun Shujiu immediately said obsequiously, "Your Majesty the Bear King is indeed mighty and domineering. Alright, since the 5 of you can make the decision, then let's discuss the next plan." The plan couldn't be any simpler. The demonic beasts only needed to set up an ambush, and Yunchujo and the others would act as bait to lure the people of the Divine Devil Hall into the ambush circle. Then, this matter would be completed. The 5 Beast Kings nodded their heads in satisfaction, and a hint of craftiness flashed in their eyes. When the time came, after eating those people, they would also eat this little girl and her companions. It was simply wonderful. At this moment, Yunchujo said to the 5 Beast Kings, "Your Majesties, we are not familiar with the terrain here. Why don't you follow me to explore the terrain?" "Your Majesty, don't worry. Only I will go with you. The rest of you will stay here as hostages. The danger zone will not have any ill intentions." The 5 Beast Kings pondered. Could it be that the 5 of them were afraid of a weak human? Thus, they nodded their heads arrogantly and agreed. Immediately, Yunchujo left with the 5 Beast Kings. Yuanjis' heart was like a beeping dog. There was a large group of demonic beasts staring at them. If they were to show their true colors, they would definitely die. However, at this point, he could only grit his teeth and persevere. He did not know what that troublemaker was planning. Yunchujo led the 5 Beast Kings about 10 miles away. Then, she said with a smile, "I still have a few corpses here. They are specially left for the 5 emperors." As Yunchujo said this, she threw out 5 corpses. The 5 Beast Kings smelled it and saw that there was no poison. They immediately began to feast and thought, "This little girl is really sensible." Chapter 49-42, The Trembling of the Soul. Yunchujo narrowed her eyes as she looked at the 5 Beast Kings. She secretly moved backwards. After feeling that the distance was safe enough, she started to establish a temporary contract with the 5 Beast Kings at the same time. The reason why they had to establish a contract at the same time was that once there was a sequence, the demonic beasts that had not established a temporary contract would definitely erupt. If that was the case, it would be bad. Although Hei Shinjo was confident in her heart, it was an important matter. To be on the safe side, she had swindled the 5 Beast Kings out. This way, even if the matter was exposed, there would still be room for redemption. Just as the 5 Beast Kings were enjoying themselves, they were suddenly contracted. They were all dumbfounded. It was like a bolt from the blue. As the kings of the wild wilderness demonic beasts, they were actually contracted? What a joke. Just as they were in a daze, Hei Xinjia's proud voice came through their spiritual perception. "Ahu, Ah Shi, Ah Lang, Ah Bao, Xiong, you are now my little followers. Don't try to forcefully break the contract. If you do that, your spiritual perception will be damaged, and your throne will be unstable. You aren't that stupid, right?" The 5 Beast Kings were stunned. They couldn't react for a moment. What exactly happened? And what the hell was tiger, lion, wolf, leopard, and bear? "You only need to cooperate with me to kill my enemies, and I will set you free. Otherwise, you will fall from the position of king. Moreover, this is a win-win deal, and you won't lose out. The reason why I signed a contract with you is to prevent you from killing your enemies," Yunchujo said lightly. The 5 Beast Kings were on the verge of tears. They finally realized that the exploration of the terrain and the corpses that were left for them were all traps. They had been tricked also. Previously, this wretched girl had a weak look on her face and even said that her spiritual sense couldn't take it anymore. But now, her face was flushed red and she was alive and kicking. How did she look like her spiritual sense was weak? As expected, humans were all treacherous and shameless. They had the intention to forcefully cancel the temporary contract, but if their spiritual sense was damaged, there would definitely be beasts under them to replace it. If that was the case, their ending would definitely be very miserable. After weighing the pros and cons, the 5 Beast Kings could only be unwilling and grit their teeth in fear. "I can help you, but what if after I help you kill the enemy, you want to kill the donkey?" the Leopard King asked worriedly. Yunchujo curled the corners of her lips. "Don't worry, I am the most honest person. I will definitely not cheat you. You are the most honest person. Did you misunderstand the word honest? After Yun Chuzhou received the message from Xiao Mogu, she narrowed her eyes and said, "Some people from the Divine Devil Hall have already approached this place. We will immediately go back and set up an ambush. Also, you have to be clear. The initiative is in my hands now. You have no room to bargain with me. If you continue to dawdle, I will let you experience what it means to tremble from the soul." As Yun Chuzhou said that, she released her pressure on the 5 Beast King's spiritual sense. The 5 Beast Kings only felt their spiritual sense tremble, and the overlord aura on their bodies instantly disappeared without a trace. Demonic beasts were different from humans. They were the most tactful. As for their dignity and moral integrity, they had never had it before. Chapter 49-43 Everyone Loves Flowers Bloom. Yun Chuzhou glanced at the 5 Beast Kings, then beckoned the Tiger King with her finger. "My legs are sore, come and be my mount." The Tiger King, mount. Mount? Did he hear wrongly? This damned girl actually let him, the Tiger King, be her mount? What kind of joke was this? Also, why was it him? Why weren't it those 4 idiots? Yun Chuzhou glanced at him. What? You don't want to? The Tiger King inexplicably heard a hint of threat from him. He gritted his teeth and finally became He Xinjia's mount under the gloating eyes of the other 4 Beast Kings. He Xinjiu said to him alone with her spiritual sense, "Don't worry. You have contributed the most, and I will give you the most benefits in the end." When the Tiger King heard that, its waist did not hurt anymore, and its legs were no longer sore. Even its tail was raised up. Wasn't it just a ride? What was the big deal? How could the benefits come from the face? The 5 Beast Kings were very fast, and they returned to their original places in a moment. When Yuan Ji and the others saw He Xinjiu on the Tiger King's back, they were all dumbfounded. Oh God, what on earth happened? Why did that little girl ride the Tiger King back after leaving for such a short while? Didn't they say that the demon beasts in the wilderness were the most unruly? Didn't they say that the demon beasts in the wilderness were the most brutal? Why did this Tiger King become the mount of the troublemaker? Also, for some reason, everyone felt that the domineering aura of the 5 Tiger Kings was gone. All of them lowered their eyebrows and looked like bullied wives. Yun Chuzhou didn't have time to explain to them. She asked them to change into the clothes of the Lan family so that they wouldn't be accidentally injured by the demon beasts. Then, she asked the 5 Beast Kings to pick over 1,000 high-level adult demon beasts and rushed to the location she had chosen beforehand to set up an ambush. After the arrangements were done, Yun Chuzhou jumped off the tiger's back and brought Yuan Ji and the others to fish for people. After walking for a distance, Yuan Ji couldn't wait to ask, "What did you do? Why did the 5 Beast Kings suddenly change their attitude? And that Tiger King actually became your mount?" The corner of Yuan Ji's mouth twitched. Naturally, he did not believe Yun Chuzhou's words, but he knew that even if he asked, he would not be able to get anything out of her, so he simply did not ask. No matter what, the 5 Beast Kings had already been controlled by Yun Chuzhou. At least, they were not afraid of the demonic beasts anymore. After walking for about 20 miles, they met a group of people from the Divine Devil Hall. Coincidentally, it was the group of people that Buddha's candle had alienated. Due to internal strife, there were only about 300 people left from the original 400 to 500 people. With the death of the fatty, the thin man took his subordinates under him. When the skinny man saw Yun Chuzhou and the others, he revealed a contemptuous look. Where should they run to now? Yun Chuzhou immediately shouted, "Run! It's over. We're dead. I'm scared to death. My legs are weak from fear." Yuan Ji and the others, was there a need to be so exaggerated? However, they still followed He Xinjiu and ran as fast as they could. The skinny leader curled his lips contemptuously. It didn't matter if they had some sort of conspiracy. There were so many of them, why would they be afraid of a few dozen of them? Today, they wouldn't be able to escape even if they had wings. Hence, Yun Shujo and the others ran in front while the skinny leader led the people from the Divine Devil Hall to chase closely behind. Chapter 49-44, Yuan Ji, who had a complicated mood. Yuan Ji's heart was slightly excited. Soon, they would arrive at the area where the demon beasts had set up their ambush. He didn't know if this battle would go as smoothly as he had expected. The others were also very excited. When they thought that the encirclement in front of them had already set up over 1,000 high-level demon beasts, and that the group of idiots behind them were still in the dark, they almost laughed out loud. They felt that following this troublemaker, not to mention other things, every battle seemed to be won by relying on bad water. It was simply fresh and exciting. 15 minutes later, the group of people from the Divine Devil Hall were successfully brought into the encirclement. Yun Shujo suddenly turned her head, with a careless smile on her face. "I'll give you a chance. Immediately kneel down and beg for mercy. Maybe I'll be merciful and spare you. Otherwise, I guarantee that your bones will not be left." The skinny man curled his lips. "Yun Shujo, you really have a big mouth. With just you people? Go. Kill everyone except Yun Shujo." The smile on Yun Shujia's face became even brighter. She whistled, and then the people of the Divine Devil Hall were shocked to see countless high-level demon beasts charging at them from all directions. They subconsciously wanted to escape, but the demon beasts had already formed an encirclement. It was simply wishful thinking to break out of the encirclement. Yun Shujo retreated to the back of the battle circle and watched the show calmly. Yuan Ji and the others had originally planned to help, but seeing that the people from the Divine Devil Hall were no match for the demonic beasts, they were happy to slack off. Besides, if those demonic beasts killed them red-eyed and accidentally injured them, it would be bad. Yuan Ji looked at the miserable state of the people from the Divine Devil Hall and was in a good mood. However, his expression suddenly became complicated. Because he suddenly remembered that he and the Pavilion Master had held Yun Shujo hostage in the Sea of Myriad Existences, but they were surrounded by many sea beasts. Could it be that the sea beasts from last time were also controlled by this troublemaker? At that moment, he did not know whether he should praise Yun Shujo for being powerful or resent her for being full of evil thoughts. However, Yuan Ji's subordinates were all happy. These bastards from the Divine Devil Hall had chased them like stray dogs. Now, it was finally their turn to be unlucky. They deserved it. They deserved it. As the number of demonic beasts was several times more than the Divine Devil Hall, it quickly turned into a one-sided massacre by the demonic beasts. After an hour, there were only some bones and clothes left on the ground. Yun Shujo beckoned at the 5 Beast Kings. The 5 Beast Kings, who were still awe-inspiring just a moment ago, immediately came in front of Yun Shujo. "Get those people's storage rings for me. I'll give you some pills," Yun Shujo said with a smile. Yun Shujo inspected the storage ring that she had seized. She gave the medicinal pills that were used to treat injuries and replenish spiritual power to the 5 Beast Kings. As for how they distributed them to their subordinates, that was up to them. In the end, Yun Shujo took out a few bottles of medicinal pills and handed them to the Tiger King. The reason was that the Tiger King had previously become her mount. When the Tiger King saw the Bear King and the others' envious and jealous eyes, it was simply filled with joy. Previously, they had gloated over their misfortune, infuriating them to death. Yun Shujo narrowed her eyes. There were still about 600 people left. She had to think of a way to bring them into the ambush circle, and then all of them would die. Chapter 49-45, but Face, who felt good about himself. The following process was the same. Yun Shujo and the others acted as bait, and the demon beasts set up an ambush. Very smoothly, they turned the remaining enemies in the hinterland into food for the demon beasts. After these few big meals, the demon beasts were all very satisfied. These small days were too beautiful. Yuan Ji and the others also went from the initial shock to numbness. They calculated that they had killed nearly 2,000 people in total. If someone had told them that they could kill 2,000 people with only 40 people, they would have thought that person was talking nonsense. However, they had no choice but to believe it now because it was the truth. Especially the 1,000 people behind them. They did not even need to do anything. They were just watching the show leisurely. They even felt that their existence was a burden to Yun Chuzhou. Although this kind of knowledge hurt their self-esteem, it was the truth. In terms of investigative ability, they could not compare to the flower-belly poison-tail spirit bee, and their battle strength was even worse than these demon beasts. They were simply useless. Yun Chuzhou was somewhat worried. Although she could use these demon beasts to do whatever she wanted in the hinterland, the climate in the deeper regions ahead was harsh, and it was not suitable for these demon beasts to survive. Therefore, these demonic beasts could not follow her to the deeper regions. This was a little difficult to deal with. Just when Yun Chuzhou was a little worried, But Face said slyly, "Little fairy, that love-struck dog, Peach Blossom, covets my beauty. It took advantage of me." Peach Blossom said disdainfully, "Master, don't listen to its nonsense. It was clearly the one who ran in front of me and spouted nonsense, so I kicked it." "What do you mean by giving me a kick?" "You clearly want to use your claws to caress and touch my powerful body," But Face said as he curled his lips. Peach Blossom sneered, "With your dog-like appearance, how can I take a fancy to you? Don't insult the word powerful, Kong." But Face immediately said in exasperation, "Humph. You are a female who doesn't mean what she says. I've seen through you. You chased me for a long time and gave up your freedom because of me. What else could you be if not coveting me? Humph. I'll say it here today. I, But Face, will never take a fancy to a lovesick dog like you. If I go back on my word, it'll be your grandson." Hei Xinjiu was already very upset about the issue with the deep zone. Seeing that the two of them were still flirting with each other, she immediately roared. Yun Chujia's heart skipped a beat when she said this. These demonic beasts were not used to the climate and environment in the deep zone, but she could put them into the spiritual beast pouches. If they were released during the battle, they would usually be put into the spiritual beast pouches. This should not be a big problem. Yun Chuzhou immediately looked at the 5 beast kings who were eagerly distributing the pills. She had to trick them into signing a contract with the other demonic beasts so that she could better control them. Yun Chuzhou hooked her finger at the 5 beast kings and brought them to the side. Yun Chuzhou let out a long sigh. "Sigh, I really let you guys down." The 5 beast kings were confused. What did she mean? Yun Chuzhou continued, "Your subordinates must have guessed that you guys have established a temporary contract with me. In the future, they will definitely use this as an excuse to mock you guys. This is all my fault. I've let you guys down. I'm simply not human." Chapter 49-46. Her heart was black when the 5 beast kings heard Yun Chujia's words. They were instantly dumbfounded. That's right, many of their subordinates were eyeing the throne covetously. If this matter wasn't handled properly, it might really become something that could be used against them. Just as they were starting to worry, Yun Chuzhou slapped her thigh. "Got it. You guys order the most threatening subordinates to establish a spiritual sense connection with me, and then I'll take the opportunity to contract them. This way, they won't have the right to criticize you guys. However, my spiritual sense is limited. Perhaps my spiritual sense will be damaged. However, in order to make up for my mistake, I won't hesitate." Hearing that, the 5 beast kings immediately burst into tears of gratitude. Who said that humans were all treacherous and shameless? The little girl in front of them was very conscientious. It really touched the beasts. They immediately called their most threatening subordinates over and asked them to establish a spiritual connection with Hei Shinjo. Hei Shinjo did not reject any of them and established a temporary contract with them. The 5 beast kings saw that Yunchujo did not look weak. Instead, the smile on their faces became more and more sinister. Finally, they felt that something was wrong. However, it was already too late. Yunchujo threatened them, "If you don't do as I say, I will support the other demon beasts and seize your throne." The 5 beast kings wanted to cry, but they had no tears. They were wrong. Did this wretched girl have a conscience? No, her heart was black. The kind that was swarthy and dark. In the end, all the high-level demonic beasts that were worthy of their names were contracted by Yunchujo. Hei Shinjo curled the corners of her lips at the 5 beast kings. "Don't worry. I don't mean any harm. I just want you to do me a favor. Not only will there be meat to eat, but there will also be pills to take. I guarantee that you will be very happy." The 5 beast kings gnashed their teeth in hatred. "What favor? I want to go to the deep regions to save people. Usually, you will stay in the spiritual beast pouches. When you encounter enemies, I will let you out. As long as the battle is over quickly, the weather in the deep regions will not be a problem for you." The Bear King said angrily, "What you said is easy. The weather in the deep regions is not ordinary. Even if the time is very short, it will still hurt us." "I firmly disagree." Yunchujo glanced at the Bear King. "Xiong, do you think it is appropriate to use such a tone to speak to me?" The Bear King felt the pressure from his spiritual sense and immediately stuttered. What I mean is, I firmly agree." Yunchujo snorted and said, "I'm just telling you. I don't want your consent. Do you understand?" The 5 beast kings looked at each other bitterly, and then the Wolf King said, "To tell you the truth, our constitution is quite special. If we leave the hinterland for more than 10 days, we will explode and die. So you must guarantee that we will come back within 10 days. Otherwise, if we explode and die, you will also lose your life." Yunchujo did not doubt the Wolf King's words, because she had also read about this in the books. There was once someone who caught a young demonic beast in the hinterland of the wilderness. After excitedly bringing it home, the young demonic beast exploded and died. Even that person became a fool because of the damage to his spiritual sense. However, 10 days was enough for her to rescue the pretty boy. Thus, she said with certainty, "Don't worry. We can return here in less than 10 days. After all, I can't take my own life as a joke, right?" Chapter 49-47. The little fairy had changed. When the 5 beast kings heard this, they could only agree sullenly. Most importantly, there was nothing they could do even if they didn't agree. Yunchujo immediately put all the demonic beasts into the spirit beast bag, but she put them into a separate spirit beast bag instead of putting them together with Buttface and the others. Yunchujo recalled the dispute between Buttface and Peach Blossom and scanned the spirit beast bag with her spiritual sense. She saw Dog 2 wrapped in a sheet and staring at Peach Blossom with vigilance. Peach Blossom didn't even look at her and was cultivating. The corners of Yunchujo's eyes twitched. This Dog 2 was probably overthinking things. Peach Blossom didn't even like it. It was really a narcissistic dog. Yunchujo withdrew her divine sense and saw Yuan Ji and the others looking at her in astonishment. They couldn't believe their eyes. Oh my god. Were their eyes playing tricks on them just now? Why did they see that troublemaker put all the demonic beasts into her spiritual beast bag? Could it be that she subdued all the demonic beasts? How did she do it? It seemed that she only exchanged a few words with the 5 beast kings, right? Yunchujo smiled. "Let's go, we'll head to the deep region. Although the climate of the deep region is not suitable for those demonic beasts, the short duration of the battle should not be a problem. Yuan-ji and the rest nodded in a daze. In their hearts, they lit a 10-meter-tall candle for the enemies in the deep region. They were going to be unlucky. Yuan-ji was calmer than the others. He asked, according to what I know, the demonic beasts in the hinterland cannot leave the hinterland for too long. Otherwise, their bodies will explode and die. Do you know this? Yunchujo nodded. You're right. That's why we have to end the battle quickly and try to save them in a short time. Yuan-ji nodded. He originally planned to find a chance to kill Di Biming, but now he had completely forgotten about this idea. What a joke. This troublemaker was not only full of evil intentions, but also very cruel. With her present, he could not find a chance to kill Di Biming. If things went wrong, he might not be able to get away with it. It was better to forget about it. Everyone immediately set off for the deep region. Unexpectedly, just as Yunchujo released the peach blossom, Buttface shouted, "Little fairy, that lovesick dog might be kidnapped by another male. Can you rest assured? Why don't you send me to keep an eye on it?" Yunchujo felt that what Buttface said made sense. The peach blossom had a criminal record. The peach blossom's face was full of shame and anger. "Master, I was forced to sign a contract with that person, so I won't help him wholeheartedly. But you are different. I naturally won't interfere with my business because of my personal matters." Yunchujo saw that Peach Blossom was angry, so she dragged Dog 2 out and beat it up. Then she said, "Peach Blossom, it's all Dog 2's fault for sowing discord. I was wrong. I won't listen to its slanderous words in the future. You don't blame me, right?" Peach Blossom saw that Dog 2 was beaten until it cried out in pain. She immediately said happily, "Master, it's not your fault. It's also because I didn't explain it to you before." When Buttface saw Yunchujo and Peach Blossom Master's deep affection, he was so angry that he started to twitch. The little fairy had changed. The little fairy was no longer the little fairy who loved him. This female was too scheming. She must have wanted to fight for the pet first and then let the little fairy force Lord Buttface to marry her. Humph, it was simply wishful thinking. She would never let him succeed. There will be a double monthly ticket event starting on April 28th. Everyone, save the monthly ticket for the end of the month. Chapter 49-48 entered the deep region. Dog 2 rolled its eyes. For the sake of its own chastity, it couldn't let that lovesick dog compete for its pet. Therefore, it said pitifully, "Little fairy, I said that just to be on the safe side. My starting point is for your own good. My loyalty to you can be seen by the sun and the moon." Yunchujo glanced at it and didn't say anything. Instead, she put it into the spirit beast bag. Buttface felt aggrieved. The little fairy really didn't love him anymore. He wrote another note on the peach blossom. "Very good, a sinister female. Well, see." As soon as Yunchujo and the others entered the deep region, they were shocked by the strange and unpredictable weather here. One moment, it was extremely hot under the scorching sun. The next moment, it was bone-chilling. From time to time, there would be violent winds blowing past. There were only a few short plants on the ground. Other than a lot of oddly shaped rocks, there were also many large and small potholes. No one knew how they were formed. No wonder there weren't many demon beasts living here. The climate here was too harsh. Yunchujo's heart was in pain. It was already very difficult for the pretty boy to endure the relapse of the cold poison. Now, he had to hide from the Divine Devil Hall and endure the harsh environment here. He must have suffered a lot. She wished that she could kill all the people from the Divine Devil Hall immediately so that she could save Di Biming. However, she knew that being impatient would only lead to bad things. She had to force herself to remain calm so that she would not make any mistakes. Yunchujo let Peach Blossom lead the way. In fact, Peach Blossom and the little black rat could follow the scent, but the little black rat was more sensitive to the smell of minerals or spiritual plants. Peach Blossom was more sensitive to the smell of humans or demonic beasts. With Peach Blossom leading the way, Yunchujo and the others soon met a group of people from the Divine Devil Hall. When the people from the Divine Devil Hall saw that Yunchujo and the others only had less than 40 people, they immediately felt that the opportunity to make a contribution had come. Yunchujo, I didn't expect you to break through the blockade of the first two paths and reach the deep region. You are quite capable. However, you people are no match for us. Surrender. The leader of the golden-masked men said arrogantly. The people in the deep region had much higher cultivation levels than those in the hinterland. Therefore, even though they thought that Yunchujo had some skills to break through the seals, they didn't take it to heart. Moreover, Yunchujo's group only had less than 40 people, and they had 200 people. No matter what, victory was in their grasp. Yunchujo raised her head to look at the scorching sun in the sky and narrowed her eyes. She had previously asked 5 beast kings. Compared to the scorching sun and heat, their tolerance to the cold was stronger, so she had to think of a way to delay it for a while. The golden-masked man laughed loudly. Yunchujo, do you know what my cultivation level is? I'm at the 9th level of the extreme spirit realm, and you, a 3rd level of the extreme spirit realm, actually want to fight me one-on-one? Yunchujo shrugged her shoulders indifferently. If you don't dare to accept the challenge, then just say it. Why do you have to say such things? Coward. You. The golden-masked man felt a little embarrassed and snorted coldly. Since you are asking for humiliation, then I will grant you your wish. Immediately, both sides gave up an empty space, and Yunchujo and the golden-masked man walked to the middle of the field. Yuan Ji frowned, thinking to himself, is this troublemaker sick? Can't we just release the demon beast? Why must we do something unnecessary? Could it be that he has nothing better to do? Chapter 49 came from God's malicious intent. Yunchujo thought to herself that it would be best if she could stall for time without making a move. After all, she still cherished her life very much. Thinking of this, she said arrogantly to the golden-masked man, do you know what my natal spiritual beast is? Let it out to scare you to death. The golden-masked man really did not know what He Xinjia's natal spiritual beast was. He curled his lips and said, what kind of powerful natal spiritual beast can a trash like you have? Yunchujo straightened her back and said arrogantly, I'll let you see it now. Stand still and don't scare you to death. Yuan Ji, who was standing behind her, was speechless. Scared to death? It was more like your Goei Batsao would make people laugh to death. Then, He Xinjiu transformed into Goei Batsao. The golden-masked man and the people behind him looked at the huge purple Goei Batsao in confusion. What the hell was this? This was Goei Batsao. After the golden-masked man was stunned, he laughed out loud and almost burst into tears. Yunchujo, this is your natal spiritual beast? The kind that can scare people to death? Is there something wrong with your brain? How dare you release such a useless spiritual beast? The Guai Chao in Yunchuji's Dantian was immediately enraged. Who was she looking down on? What's wrong with Goei Batsao? It could kill you easily. Today, you will know what Goei Batsao means. Who can compete with it? Just as the Guai Chao was about to make a shocking scene, Yunchujo withdrew her spiritual power, and Goei Batsao quickly turned into nothingness. It turned out that the extremely hot weather had suddenly turned into a bone-piercing cold wind. Yunchujo naturally would not waste time with the golden-masked man. She was going to use her ultimate move. Guai Chao's heart felt like it was bawling at a dog. It had not even had the time to display its prowess, and it was just finished. Guai Chao felt the sinister malice from the heavens. Why was it always intercepted every time it wanted to display its prowess? What did it do wrong? It made up its mind that if it was released the next time, it would directly make a move to avoid being intercepted again. Yes, that was what it would do. When the golden-masked man saw that Yun Shujo had actually put away the Goei Batsao, he was stunned at first, then he curled his lips and said, "At least you know what's good for you. Your useless spiritual beast is a joke." The golden-masked man was stunned. Little babies? At this moment, the 5 beast kings were released. The golden-masked man pursed his lips. Although these 5 demonic beasts were not low-grade, what could a mere 5 become? Yun Shujo, do you think that you can turn the tide of the battle with these 5 beasts? You are too naive. The golden-masked man said arrogantly. Beasts? The 5 beast kings were immediately enraged. No matter how uncultured they were, they knew that these 2 words were not pleasant to hear. In their anger, they even ignored the bone-piercing cold. They only had one goal, and that was to eat these bastards. Yun Shujo had a cold smile on her lips as she kept releasing the demonic beasts. The expressions of the golden-masked man and the people from the Divine Devil Hall changed from contempt to doubt, then to surprise, then to fear, and finally to despair. They had never dreamed that Yun Shujo would have so many demonic beasts. How could a person have so many contracted beasts? It was impossible. However, the truth was right before their eyes. Until the moment of death, they could not solve the doubts in their hearts. How did she do it? Chapter 49-50 Purple Masked Man. This one-sided massacre only lasted for a quarter of an hour. Yun Shujo was afraid that the demonic beasts would not be able to withstand the bad weather, so she directly put the demonic beasts and the corpses into the spirit beast bag. Yuan Ji asked with some confusion, "Why did you want to fight one-on-one before? Isn't this a waste of time? The demonic beasts are more accustomed to the cold weather. I just wanted to stall for time." Yun Shujo rarely explained with a serious face. Yuan Ji suddenly understood. He thought that she had calculated everything that this troublemaker had done. Whether it was to ask him to collect the corpses or to collect the hyena, her meticulous mind was really abnormal. Yun Shujo continued to let Peach Blossom lead the way to find the people of the Divine Devil Hall. It was not that she had not considered meeting up with Xue Wuji and the others first, but she felt that the risk was a little high. Xue Wuji and the other 2 had a smaller target, so it was easier for them to hide. Once they met up, the target would be too big. Although she had demonic beasts, there was no guarantee that the people from the Divine Devil Hall would have other trump cards. It was better to be careful. A day later, they met another group of people from the Divine Devil Hall, about 200 people. Yun Shujo killed these people without much effort. She estimated that there should be about 500 to 600 people in the deep region based on the information that Yuan Ji had received. These 500 to 600 people were the elites of these people. As they moved deeper into the deep region, the weather became more and more terrible. The time that the monsters could maintain their combat strength became shorter and shorter. Yun Shujo felt a little uneasy. Yuan Ji said with some worry, "If we meet the people from the Divine Devil Hall again, the demonic beasts probably won't be able to hold on for long. What should we do then?" Yun Shujo frowned. What should she do? At this point, they could only move forward. Moreover, they had to finish the battle quickly. Otherwise, the demonic beasts would explode and die. They could only hope that the people from the Divine Devil Hall were scattered and did not have any trump cards. However, what they were afraid of came true. Yun Shujo and the others had encountered 500 to 600 enemies this time, and their cultivation levels were clearly higher than the previous ones. Most of them were gold-masked men, and the leader was a purple-masked man. The purple-masked man looked at Yun Shujo maliciously. As Yun Shujo had not taken any more transfiguration pills recently, she had already returned to her original appearance. Yun Shujo, you came at the right time. We were worried that we wouldn't be able to force beaming out, but you came to us on your own accord. The purple-masked man said coldly. Even though Yun Chuzhou was not confident, she did not show it on her face. She smiled and said, I did not come to you. I came to kill you. I think I have already killed more than 2,000 of your people. Your people from the Divine Devil Hall are really useless. I've always loved peace. You guys leave the wilderness immediately. I'll let bygones be bygones. What do you think? Yun Chuzhou said with a chuckle. The purple-masked man sneered. Yun Chuzhou, do you think this is possible? Seeing that you're still useful, if you surrender voluntarily, I can spare the rest of the people. Yun Chuzhou touched her chin. The conditions you mentioned are very tempting, but how can I be sure that you are not lying to me? Chapter 49-51 Dilemma. The purple-masked man sneered, Yun Chuzhou, do you think you have the right to negotiate with me? I only persuaded you to surrender because I find it troublesome. Since you don't know what's good for you, there's nothing more to talk about. As soon as the purple-masked man finished his words, he waved his hand and ordered his subordinates to make a move. Yun Chuzhou cursed in her heart. This purple-masked man was indeed much more difficult to deal with than those golden-masked men. Since that was the case, she could only make a move. She immediately released half of the demonic beasts. This was because the weather was getting worse and the duration of the demonic beast's endurance was very short. With this half-and-half rotation, they could still hold on for a little longer. When the purple-masked man saw that Yun Chuzhou released so many demonic beasts, he was also shocked. However, he quickly revealed a contemptuous look. If they were in the hinterland, perhaps he would still be apprehensive of these demonic beasts. However, this was the deep region, and it was also the deep region. These demonic beasts would not be able to hold on for long. Once the two sides exchanged blows, Yun Chuzhou's heart sank. She was afraid that she would capsize. Those demonic beasts could only hold on for a few hundred breaths at most. Even if they took turns to replace each other, they would not be able to hold on for long. Moreover, the cultivation levels of the people from the Divine Devil Hall were generally higher than the demonic beasts. If this continued, they would definitely lose. What made her even more worried was that the purple-masked man did not make a move. He only stared at Yun Chuzhou maliciously, not letting her have any chance of escaping. In just a short moment, many demonic beasts were killed. The air was filled with the smell of blood. Yuan Ji and his subordinates had been protecting Yun Chuzhou all along. Their hearts were filled with an ominous premonition. This time, it was likely that they would not be able to escape. Even if they wanted to turn around and escape now, it was impossible because the people of the Divine Devil Hall had already sealed off the direction of escape. They could only fight to the death. The extremely bad weather made the fighting strength of the demonic beasts become weaker and weaker. Yun Chuzhou had no choice but to put them back into her spirit beast bag. Although she had kidnapped them, she couldn't bear to watch them being slaughtered by the people of the Divine Devil Hall. The purple-masked man saw Yun Chuzhou put away the demonic beasts and sneered, Yun Chuzhou, what do you think? Are you still not going to surrender? Give me 15 minutes. I'll think about it, Yun Chuzhou said faintly. The purple-masked man did not refuse, because in his opinion, Yun Chuzhou was a turtle in a jar. No matter how treacherous she was, she could not escape. Yun Chuzhou said to Yuan Ji, even if I agree to their surrender, they won't really let you go. Do you understand what I mean? Yuan Ji shook his head and smiled bitterly. I'm not that brainless. At worst, I'll just die. You're underestimating me and my brothers too much. Yun Chuzhou didn't say anything more after hearing that. When life and death were at stake, she didn't want to have any unstable factors. She thought for a while, but there was actually no way to solve the predicament in front of her. The silly cuties were somewhat useful, but after all, there was a huge difference in strength between the two sides. Even if they participated in the battle, they would not be able to turn the tables. She still had puppets, but unfortunately, only number 4 and number 5 could use them. Because puppets number 6, 7, and 8 had been occupied by the drifters, the puppet discs could no longer be used. On the other hand, the drifters had not made any movements since they arrived at the heavy cloud continent. It was truly troublesome. Although the Guai Chao could attract demon beasts, there were almost no living creatures in this deep region. It was likely that it could not attract anything. Buddha's candle was already in hibernation. The demon heaven bell and the little wooden fish on his wrist were as if they were dead. There was no hope at all. How about playing a tune again? Chapter 49-52 Purple-masked man's strength. Thinking of this, Yun Shujo took out a piece of jade glass Bodhi leaf and began to play the cabbage. The sound of sobbing music sounded. Whether it was Yuan Ji and the others or the people from the Divine Devil Hall, they all felt that Yun Shujo was most likely overstimulated and crazy. At this time, she still had the mood to play a tune. Sick. Hei Shinjo played very seriously, almost exceeding her standard. However, after playing it a few times, there was still no effect. This guy put away the Bodhi leaf in frustration. If it really could not be done, he could only enter the Great Void Mirror. If she disappeared, the people of the Divine Demon Hall would definitely leave Yuan Ji and the others alive in order to force her out. She would then think of a way to save them. However, just as this thought flashed through her mind, Mao Sueqiu said weakly, "Master, Xiao Jingjing has gone into hibernation." Yun Shujo, what's the point of having it? Every time it went into hibernation at a critical moment, she suspected that it was intentional. No wonder it was split into several pieces back then. It deserved it. When this fellow was so angry that he was about to lash out, the purple-masked man coldly said, "Yun Shujo, time's up. Have you thought about it?" Yun Shujo arrogantly said, "I'm warning you. If you force me into a corner, I'm going to become a pervert. If I become a pervert, even I'm afraid of myself. Everyone, this person must be a lunatic, right? Who said that he was a pervert?" The purple-masked man snorted coldly and did not say anything. He immediately reached out his hand and grabbed Yun Shujo. Yun Shujo naturally would not sit still and wait for death. She shot out several small purple needles and summoned cheap slut number 1. The purple-masked man directly caught the small purple needles with his hand. Hei Shinjo could not help but feel delighted and hurriedly controlled the small purple needles to explode. However, what surprised her was that the explosion of the small purple needles did not cause any damage to the purple-masked man. There was not even a small wound. The purple-masked man said contemptuously, "Petty tricks. Yun Shujo, your tricks won't work on me. You'd better surrender obediently." Yun Shujo gritted her teeth and summoned little slut number 2 to number 9. At the same time, she stabbed at the vital parts of the purple-masked man. The purple-masked man's eyes revealed a look of surprise, but he did not even release his spiritual beast. He could easily deal with 8 flying swords just by relying on his movement technique. The purple-masked man was clearly playing with Yun Shujo and was not in a hurry to kill her. Otherwise, Yun Shujo might not even be able to last 10 moves. Yun Shujo could not help but feel a sense of defeat. The gap in strength between them was too big. The difference was so great that no matter how many plots and tricks she had, she could not make up for it. Thinking of this, her heart stirred. Purple-masked man? She had a purple-masked man on her side too. If she let Qiying out and let him attach himself to a corpse, although he could not unleash his full strength, he could still help her hold on for a while. However, Qiying was very stubborn. If he were to be released just like that, he might be able to help the Divine Devil Hall capture her. How would he be able to help her? She had to think of a way. She rolled her eyes and shouted, "Wait. Let me ask you a few questions. If you answer honestly, I will surrender. If not, I will commit suicide. It's up to you." The purple-masked man wanted to use Yun Chuzhou to threaten Baiming, so he stopped immediately. After all, he was not afraid that Yun Chuzhou would play any tricks. Yun Chuzhou used her divine sense and butt face and the others to say, "Restrain Qi Ying. I want to let him out." Chapter 49-53, Qi Sha. Immediately, the dumb cuties imprisoned Qi Ying, and then Yun Chuzhou released him. Everyone was a little confused when they saw Yun Chuzhou suddenly release a low-level rabbit. However, no one took Qi Ying seriously. He was just a low-level rabbit. Qi Ying had no idea what was happening outside. When he saw the purple-masked man opposite him suddenly shrink his rabbit eyes, he revealed a complicated expression. Yun Chuzhou had been paying attention to Qi Ying's movements. When she saw this, her heart skipped a beat. She looked at the purple-masked man opposite her and asked with some fear, "What's your name? How can you be so powerful?" When the purple-masked man saw that Yun Chuzhou was being played by him, he slightly relaxed his vigilance and said proudly, "There's no harm in telling you. My name is Qi Sha." Yun Chuzhou's heart moved again. Qi Sha? Qi Ying? Perhaps they knew each other? "So you're Qi Sha. I've seen a person called Qi Ying before. I wonder if you know him?" Qi Sha snorted coldly, "You've seen Qi Ying? Impossible. It's impossible for you to meet him." Yun Chuzhou spread her hands, "That's really unfortunate. I've really met him. Does he have a black mole under his left eye?" Qi Sha was stunned when he heard that. He asked suspiciously, "You've really met Qi Ying? Where did you meet him?" "Ghost territory." Qi Sha's expression changed when he heard the word ghost territory. He immediately believed Yun Chuzhou's words. "Where is he? Has he been killed by you?" Yun Chuzhou curled the corners of her lips. "I didn't kill him. I've trapped him in a place. If you let us go, I'll use him in exchange. What do you think?" Hearing that, Qi Sha laughed out loud. "Yun Chuzhou, you have made a mistake. Qi Ying's life and death have nothing to do with me." Yun Chuzhou was stunned at first, then she curled her lips and said, "I know you said that on purpose. I will not be fooled by you. Qi Ying has said that he has a high status in your divine devil hall. How can you ignore his life and death? High status? He really dares to say that? An unlikable fool with a high status? To tell you the truth, I wish he was dead. It's not just me. No one else likes him. Otherwise, why do you think he was sent to the ghost realm? His body has already been fed to our spiritual pets, so do you think it's useful to use him to blackmail me?" Qi Sha said with some pride. When Yun Chuzhou heard this, a hint of craftiness flashed in her eyes. This Qi Sha really matched his name. He was indeed stupid. Yun Chuzhou gritted her teeth and decided to take a gamble. Thus, she untied the imprisonment of the red shadow rabbit. However, this fellow was stunned to discover that the red shadow rabbit had already died. This fellow finally realized something. The weather here was extremely harsh. The rabbit that Qi Ying possessed was of a very low grade. How could it withstand it? Yun Chuzhou was instantly dumbfounded. The rabbit was dead. Where did Qi Ying's primordial spirit go? At this moment, the corpse of a member of the Divine Devil Hall not far away stood up with difficulty. Although many people had seen it, no one paid it any attention. After all, this was a very normal thing. He was probably injured and unconscious just now. Now, he had woken up. However, Yun Chuzhou's eyes flashed because she saw that the eyes of that person were filled with hatred and anger. It seemed like Qi Ying had possessed that person. Chapter 49-54, Making a wedding dress for others. He Xinzhou decided to continue to pull Qi Sha's hatred points, so she said with a shocked expression, "What? You actually fed his body to a spiritual pet? Isn't he your colleague? Why do you hate him so much? Is it because you're jealous of his talent? What's there for me to be jealous of that idiot? It's just that I can't stand his temper. He deserves it. Cut the crap. Are you going to surrender or not?" Chi Sha suddenly realized that he had said too much. "You!" Chi Sha shouted. At this moment, a sharp palm wind attacked Chi Sha. Even in his dreams, Chi Sha never thought that someone would sneak attack him, and it was even one of us. Therefore, his dodging speed was slightly slower. He was hit by the palm wind on his left shoulder and let out a muffled groan. "Impudent! Are you crazy?" Chi Sha shouted loudly. That person did not say anything and attacked Chi Sha with his palm again. Chi Sha was immediately angered from embarrassment. He transformed into his own spiritual beast and a huge vulture pounced towards that person. That person also transformed into his own spiritual beast, a huge spiritual tiger. Both sides were entangled in a fight. Whether it was the people from the Divine Devil Hall, Yuan Ji, and the others, they were all dumbfounded. Why was there an internal conflict? Yun Shujiao narrowed her eyes as she watched. Although the spiritual power of the person that Qi Ying possessed was not low, it was still unable to compare to Qi Sha. Qi Ying would be defeated very soon. She had to lend him a helping hand. Hence, she stared at each and every move of the two of them. Just as Qi Ying was about to attack Qi Sha again, she let Xiao Hanio carry out the curse. This fellow thought to himself, "Qi Ying, this precious curse has helped you use it. Don't disappoint me." Qi Sha saw Qi Ying's palm attack and immediately dodged it. However, he suddenly stumbled. This stumble was too sudden and did not even give him any time to react. How could Qi Ying let go of such a perfect opportunity? Originally, this palm attack was aimed at Qi Sha's chest, however, because of Qi Sha's stumble, this palm landed on Qi Sha's head. This palm directly sent Qi Sha's head flying. Qi Sha could not be any more dead. Yun Shujiao almost jumped up in joy. "Qi Ying, well done. Well done." However, in the next moment, this fellow could not laugh anymore. This was because Qi Ying said to the stunned people of the Divine Demon Hall, "I am Qi Ying. From now on, listen to my orders and take down Yun Shujiao and the others." After all this time, he was just doing this for someone else. There was no need to mention the frustration in his heart. However, no matter how frustrated he was, he had to think of a way. He could not just sit and wait for his death. When she saw that the people of the Divine Devil Hall were looking at Qi Ying suspiciously, she immediately blinked her eyes and whispered to Yuan Ji, "Yuan Ji, don't worry. Those are my people." When the people from the God-Fiend Palace heard his whispers, they became even more suspicious. After all, many of them did not know Qi Ying's name. Furthermore, Qi Ying had just killed their leader. How could they be completely convinced? When Qi Ying saw that none of the people from the God-Fiend Palace moved, his expression became even more unsightly. He immediately grabbed towards Yun Shujiao. He felt that as long as he caught Yun Shujiao, those people would also believe in him. As for other matters, that was all for the future. He would not let go of anyone who had harmed him. Chapter 49-55 had the mentality of giving it a try. Yun Shujiao avoided him and said in a low voice, "Brother Qi Ying, don't worry, I will cooperate with you. None of these bastards who have harmed you will escape. Brother Qi Ying, don't forget our plan. When you reach the lair of the Divine Devil Hall, you must kill them all. Brother Qi Ying, I understand your difficulties. If it were me, I would be furious, too. Not only have you been ostracized and framed by them, but your body has also been fed to dogs. No matter how loyal you are to your master, you must betray him." Qi Ying heard that the people of the Divine Devil Temple were questioning him more and more. He immediately shouted angrily, "Shut up! If you don't want to die, surrender now." He Xinjiu saw that Qi Ying's attack was getting more and more urgent. It was obvious that he was determined to capture her. She immediately felt a little numb. This damn Qi Ying was quite loyal to their shitty owner. At this moment, Buttface said, "Little fairy, try to see if you can put him into the spirit beast pouch." "What if you can?" Yun Shujiu was so angry that she was twitching. This Buttface was really stupid. Previously, Qi Ying was a rabbit, so he could be put into the spirit beast pouch. Now that he was a living person, how could he be put into the spirit beast pouch? However, she still had the mentality of trying. With her spiritual sense, and then. Where is Qi Ying, that white-eyed rabbit? Buttface's excited voice came over, "Little fairy, I told you, right? You can put him into the spirit beast pouch, right? Don't worry, I will let him know what it means to live a life worse than death." Yun Shujiu was stunned for a moment. Then, she used her spiritual sense to scan her spirit beast pouch and saw that Qi Ying was being beaten up with a confused look on his face. He felt that his world had completely collapsed. First, he found out that his companion had set him up, and then he was put into the spirit beast pouch. He was a good person. Previously, he was possessed by a rabbit and was put into the spirit beast pouch. It was understandable, but now that he was already possessed by a human, why was he still put into the spirit beast pouch? Could it be that he would never be able to escape from this wretched girl's claws? What had he done wrong? He had absolutely nothing to live for now. Therefore, he did not put up any resistance even after being beaten up by the dumb cubs. All he wanted now was silence. The people of the Divine Devil Hall, Yuan Ji, and the others were all dumbfounded. Where was he? Why did that person disappear into thin air while he was being beaten up? After Yun Shujiu withdrew her spiritual sense from the spiritual beast bag, she pretended to be mysterious and said, "That person was resurrected after death and helped me kill Qi Sha." It was supposed to be a good opportunity for him to turn over a new leaf. However, he didn't know what was good for him and wanted to deal with me. Now, he has suffered retribution and his soul has scattered. Therefore, anyone who goes against me will not have a good ending. If you know what's good for you, leave quickly. Otherwise, you will also have the same ending. The people from the Divine Devil Hall looked at each other suspiciously. One of the golden-masked men snorted coldly and said, "Everyone, don't listen to her nonsense. We have so many people, why are we afraid of these few people? Lord Qi Sha was just careless and was ambushed. As long as we work together, we will definitely be able to capture Yun Shujiu. Everyone, attack together." When those people heard that, they immediately swarmed forward. Yun Shujiu had no choice but to release the demonic beasts again. Fortunately, these demonic beasts had also rested for a while and had recovered somewhat. However, she also knew that this was not the way. This fellow was so anxious that he was hopping around. Only when she was stimulated would she activate her potential or burst out with killing intent. When that time came, she was afraid that it would be too late. Chapter 4956 Dumb Meng kills the enemy. Just as Yun Shujiu was jumping around anxiously, dozens of golden-masked men surrounded her at the same time. At this moment, Yun Shujiu, Yuan Ji, and the others had been consciously separated by the people of the Divine Devil Hall. They could not take care of themselves and could not come over to help at all. The eyes of those golden-masked men were filled with viciousness and disdain as they attacked Yun Shujiu at the same time. He Xinjiu had no choice but to use all her assets, Puppet Number 4, Puppet Number 5, and Dummy Meng. The golden-masked men did not put the two puppets and Dummy Meng in their eyes at first, but they soon suffered the consequences of underestimating the enemy. Xiao Hanio's Nirvana fire was different from ordinary fire, it could turn skin and flesh into ashes in an instant. Xiao He crawled into the ground and dragged the opponent's feet into the hole. Then, it used its sharp claws to cut the opponent's ankle. Xiao Mogu stretched out dozens of mycelium. As long as it was entangled by it, the opponent's spiritual power would gradually disappear. Xiao Hong used the Heavenly Fox's 9 howls to make the opponent lose focus for a moment. Although the little bastard was not good at fighting on land, it had the protection of a turtle shell. When it was attacked, it would hide in the turtle shell. From time to time, it would sneak attack a few water arrows. It could also help. The 5 rabbits also had their own strengths, and they fought with all their might. The kittens were now occupied by the white tiger, so their combat strength was also the strongest. Their figures were as fast as ghosts, and in the blink of an eye, they used their sharp claws to cut a golden-masked man's throat. Of course, there were also useless goods. For example, Meng Yanshou, Peach Blossom, and Butt Face. The rabbit that the Meng Yanshou possessed was too weak. Moreover, it was good at weaving dreams, so there was no way to use it. Peach Blossom was good at tracking, so her combat strength was a bit terrible. Therefore, Yun Shujiu didn't release it. As for Dog 2, it basically had no other skills besides acting cute. It could be said that it was the weakest among the dumb cubs. The guy looked at Peach Blossom from the spirit beast bag and said, "I haven't recovered my strength yet. Otherwise, the trash outside wouldn't be enough for me to take care of." Peach Blossom didn't have a good impression of Butt Face at the moment. She snorted and said, "Stop bragging. I think you are a waste." Butt Face was so angry that he was twitching. However, he knew that he couldn't cause any more trouble for Yun Shujiu at this time. He could only glare at Peach Blossom and snort coldly, "A female who doesn't mean what she says. I'll show you my power sooner or later." At this time, more than half of the dozens of golden-masked men who had surrounded Yun Shujiu had already died on the spot. The remaining people's eyes were filled with shock and some fear. They did not expect Yun Shujiu to have so many powerful spiritual pets. No wonder those people from the other continents could not do anything to her. However, no matter how powerful her spiritual pets were, they would definitely die today. Even if she was tired, she would die from exhaustion. Yun Shujiu glanced at the battlefield from the corner of her eyes. The demonic beasts could not hold on any longer. Yuan Ji and the others also suffered varying degrees of casualties. Would they die here today? Yun Shujiu saw that the demonic beasts could no longer withstand the weather, so she could only put the demonic beasts back into the spiritual beast bags. As a result, the disparity in strength between the two sides was even greater. Yun Shujiu and the others were trapped in the middle by the people from the Divine Devil Hall. Yuan Ji's clothes were already dyed red with blood. It was unknown whether it was someone else's blood or his own. Nearly half of his subordinates had been killed. At this moment, there were less than 20 people left. After the fierce battle just now, the dumb cuties were also injured to varying degrees. At this time, Yun Shuji's spiritual sense transmitted puppet number 4 and puppet number 5's almost emotionless voices, "Master, we will self-destruct. You retreat." You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.